All right, everyone, are you able to see and hear me? All right, good afternoon. This is the state expedited accusations calendar in the state court of Fulton County, Georgia. I am Judge Melanie Williams. At today's calendar, we will handle several matters, including setting bonds. All defendants, you have an absolute right to remain silent. Anything you say regarding the facts of the case can and will be used against you. You also have a right to an attorney at this particular proceeding. All participants, this proceeding is being broadcast over the internet as a live stream. It's also being recorded. That means any member of the public can log on and watch this proceeding. Defendants, when I ask if you understand your rights, these are the explanations and rights to which I am referring. Ms. Strong, what is my reset date?
It's July the 11th, Judge Williams.
Thank you. Those who receive a surety or cash bond will be reset and stayed on purpose at July 11th, whereby your case can be revisited at that time. Those who receive a signature bond will be reset further notice. Have all members of the public defender's office or defense attorneys had the opportunity to interview their clients?
No, Your Honor, I have not. I've got two clients that the jail has still not been able to allow me to talk to.
And I'm assuming, I see Ms. Chancey is on the line. Whoever needed the interpretation, were they able to interview their client?
Not yet, Your Honor. I was told that my client may have a private attorney, and yet I do not see any private attorney here, so I may have to interview.
I'm inclined to, and I see another interpreter on the line, Mr. Cho. Whoever requires Mr. Cho's services, have you had any opportunity? That's you as well, Ms. Kim?
Yeah, Mr. Wu.
Yes, I was able to talk to
So
Mr. Wu, who needs a Chinese interpreter, and yet he does need some professional interpretation.
Okay, but you've interviewed him already, Ms. Kim? Is that my understanding?
I was able to interview him,
Okay.
Mr. Wu.
Okay, so the gentleman who requires Ms. Chancey's service, will he be taken to a different courtroom so that Ms. Kim can interview him?
Your Honor, Ms. Karen West, the attorney, is for Mr. Vergara.
Okay.
That's
And
the
you got,
proper attorney.
okay, all right, well, let's proceed. Who do we have first at the jail? And can we take the interpretation positions next, please?
Okay, we can do position 13, then we'll go to the interpretation.
Okay, and position 8 is a medical reset. Are there other announcements regarding medical reset for those who will not be brought today?
We have one waiver, which is Mr. Collin, position number 2.
Okay, that's fine, thank you. All right, we're gonna go now to position 13. Give me one moment. Okay, are you Samuel Lawrence?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, your case is 23 CR 004018J. You're charged with driving without a valid license and failure to use your turn signal with the offense date of June the 25th. Do you understand, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Nash, can I please have 63?
Hello, Judge.
Good afternoon, good to see you. It's been a minute.
Good afternoon. The defendant has 9 cycles. The defendant's last arrest was November the 16th, 2020 in Bibb County, Georgia for Terroristic Threats Act and use of a firearm by a convicted felon, and cruelty to children in the first degree, and pointing or aiming a gun or a pistol at another, and criminal trespassing, family violence, and a probation violation. There was no disposition for that arrest. He does have prior felony convictions. This one in 2003 out of Macon, Georgia for armed robbery. One in 2000 out of Bibb County for forgery in the first degree. And it's an additional one in 2002 out of Bibb County for robbery.
That's sufficient, Ms. Nash. Thank you. Appreciate that. Ms. Falk, is this your case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mhm.
And we're actually, I was looking at the GCIC. It actually shows that that 2020 case for aggravated assault, terroristic threats out of Bibb County was null prost on June 14th of 2022.
Okay.
In this incident, Your Honor, the defendant was observed on June 25th, 2023 at the intersection of Edgewood Avenue. Officers were in that area and observed a Chrysler 200 driven by the defendant make a left turn without indicating the vehicle's turn signal. The defendant was stopped, and when asked, he admitted he had no license. The defendant stepped out of the vehicle and was detained by the officers. The officers also smelled the odor of marijuana inside the vehicle and found approximately, I believe it was 1.8 grams of marijuana, as well as some low THC lip balm. Both of those charges we are not planning on proceeding on and have tendered an NOD. The defendant's most recent history, barring that null prost 2022 case, appears to have been a probation violation in 2013. The state is recommending a $2,000 surety bond. That's going to be $1,000 per charge, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and no driving without a license. That's all for the state.
All right. I'm just curious, Ms. Nash, do you have the driving history by any chance? Or Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor, the state does. It appears that his most recent driving offense was in, let me just scroll down. Looks like he had some driving offenses from 2021. 2022, a revocation suspension out of another state. He also has a transferred license to Tennessee from Georgia, October 12th of 2022, where he failed to appear in court. So those are his most recent vehicle and traffic offenses. I will say that it appears he may reside in Tennessee based on one of those offenses.
Okay, I understand. Thank you. Attorney Wright, would you like to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor. So these are driving offenses. He was not observed driving recklessly. He was pulled over because he didn't turn on a signal. He does live in Tennessee. He was born and raised in Georgia. His mom still lives here, but he got the opportunity to move to Knoxville to start working with Amazon. It is the first job that has felt very good to him. He is desperate to get back. He's missed a day of work today. He really wants to get back to start work tomorrow as soon as possible. I am asking for a signature bond for Mr. Lawrence on his case.
All right, Mr. Lawrence will receive a $2,000 SOB through the jail. He is not to drive at all, and he is to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition. Is there anything
Yes, Your Honor.
else?
No, Your Honor.
Further from the state.
All right, very nice. Best of luck to you, sir. Who do you
I
have?
apologize. Judge Williams, you said 2,000?
Yes, 1,000 is charged.
Okay, thank you.
And Your Honor, just to let you know, there is a little bit of an echo.
Okay. Not sure how to fix that. I could try to find, is it still echoing?
Can you repeat that?
Okay. Let me sign off and sign back on. That's the only thing I can think of that might fix the echo. I will be right back.
Hey, Ms. Anna Wright,
Yes.
FYI, position number 22, Marcus Quavy is going to be a medical reset.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is that any better?
The same way.
If it continues to be bad, I can try my cell phone. I'm not in my normal location. Let's try to deal with it. Hopefully you can hear me. I know this is a long calendar. It's a long time to hear echoes, so if it gets unbearable, we'll do something else. All right, who do we have next? Can we do the interpretation?
Yes, we can go to the interpretation for Mr. Wu.
吴先生，你可以出来。
All right, Mr. Cho, will you raise your right hand? Do you swear and affirm that today you will make an accurate translation from English to Mandarin, Mandarin to English to the best of your skill, knowledge, and ability?
I do.
Thank you. You put your hand down.
Thank you.
All right. I'm sorry, what position is this?
Position 30.
All right. All right, good afternoon, Mr. Wu. I'm Judge Melanie Williams.
午安，吴先生啊，我的名字是William 的，这是你的法官。
Your case number is 23 CR 00402-4F.
你的暗号是23CR004024F。
In this case, you're charged with simple battery, family violence.
在这案子当中呢，被起诉的理由就是一个单的一个家庭暴力攻击，
With the offense date of June 25th,
是在今年的6月25号发生的事情。
you have an absolute right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you.
你有绝对的权利可以保持沉默，你在这边所说的任何的话都会对你有产生不利的影响的。
You have a right to an attorney,
你有权利可以找律师来帮你的。
and Ms. Kim is available to represent you.
今天在这边有一个叫做Kim 小姐，她是这里的今天的当班的律师，可以帮你的。
This proceeding is being broadcast over the internet.
今天所做的这整个过程呢，都是在网上呢全程的录放，全程的播放。
It's also being recorded. That means any member of the public can watch it.
而且我们也录下来了，这个意思就是说，任何人在任何角落上，只要有这样子的一个网络呢，都可以看到我们今天所说的、所听的东西。
Do you understand your rights and how I'm holding the hearing today?
那你知不知道你有什么权利而且今天你刚才让你知道的有一些对你的起诉你都知道了哦。
Yes, I know.
Yes, I know.
All right, thank you. All right, Ms. Nash, the history, please.
The defendant does not have any prior arrests on file, Your Honor. Nothing in addition.
Thank you. All right, please pronounce your name, ma'am, for the state. I don't want to get it wrong. Diamond, the name?
吴先生，吴先生，你的名字你再跟我们发音一下我们不要把你的名字叫错了。
振华吴。
振华吴，吴振华。
Diamond Nimini, Your Honor.
Say it again.
Nimini.
他是讲刚才那个对不起，他是讲说对方的那个名字不要叫错了，不是讲你，对不起。
All right, your recommendation, Ms. Nimini?
The state wants to put facts on record, Your Honor.
That's fine.
June 25th of this year at 360 Old York Road in Duluth, Georgia, the officer responded to the above location and met with Ms. Jang Lee, the victim. She stated that the defendant locked himself in their child upstairs and kicked Ms. G when she attempted to take the child with her. We were also able to speak with the victim, and she noted that they have been married since 2010. They share a 4-year-old child.
Oh, wait, hold on, let interpretation catch up.
他是说在当时所讲的6月25号那一天到你的家的地址那地址因为警察接到了这个地址呢他就回应了这样子的一个抱怨他到场的时候呢就听说就是说他把自己就锁在里头跟不让人家进去。那季小姐呢她就是当时就是有这样子的一个跟上面说一个反应，就是说有暴力的情形。
The parties do have a domestic violence history, but this is the first time that Ms. Meng has called the police.
那么是2010年就结婚了当然这是第一次你们有很多的这样子的一个冲突，但是是第一次呢小姐呢她打电话来报警察。
Ms. Meng and the defendant have been arguing for several days regarding their marriage. and Ms. Mang wanted to leave defendant to go to a friend's house due to detention in the house and because of she was afraid of the defendant.
他们也夫妻吵了好几天了啊，都在为这件事情，就是 Man 小姐她想要离开啊，想要离开吴先生，那她就是希望能够到朋友的家里面去住啊，这样就是冲突就这样起来，这么多天来，就她不想要再维持这个婚姻了。
Okay, defendant opened, pushed, and kicked her, and then locked the door again, although she didn't sustain any injuries.
那被告呢，当时呢就把门锁起来，当然是推他，那当然还好没有受伤啊，受害者没受伤。
Ms. Ming states that defendant has threatened to kill her, his son, and himself.
那命小姐是说啊，被告呢他想要来杀他啊，想来伤害他，跟也要说要伤害他的孩子。
Ms. Ming also states that defendant has mentioned suicide several times.
明小姐也说过啊，这个被告呢也曾经尝试过自杀好几次了。
Ms. G is also afraid of defendant killing himself, but is also afraid of him killing her and their son.
所以这位明小姐就是说，她就是你的太太了，就是这个被告呢，太太呢也害怕她自己啊杀自己，也怕她来伤害到她跟她的孩子。
Ms. G wants no contact, mental health evaluation, no contact with the son, Ronnie Wu, and stay away from the residence at 350 Old York Road. And the state asks for a 2,500 surety bond.
那当然，这是一位就是受害者，他希望说他讲命就是 Miss G， 他希望他能够啊不要跟这位伤害人的这位被告呢有任何的接触啊，当然他希望也不要跟他的这个儿子啊 Ronnie Wu 在一起啊，这也是他的希望，他的要求。他希望能够啊本周呢要他不要到这个350的房子去，那我们要他2500块钱的一个保释金。
In addition to family violence intervention program as well, Your Honor.
而且还要有一个啊，就是对他的这个精神问题的评估，而且还要对他做一些啊其他的啊其他的一些啊评估。Domestic violence 就是说能够啊就是家庭家暴的这样子的一个啊学习跟评估。
All right, what is the victim's name again?
那你刚才讲的名字再讲一次好不好？他讲错了 her name， 你的老婆的名字，但你不用讲话了。
The victim would like no contact.
No, her name.
Yeah,
Meng Gay.
Her name was what?
Meng Gay.
Okay, is Miss Meng Gay present and wish to make a statement?
在不在场 ？Main Gay 在不在场？需要讲话。
Ms. Meng Gay is on the call, but she's not sure if she wants to speak. I will sound for hearing.
I just sounded, so I don't need to do that, but we'll assume she does not want to make a statement. All right. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. My client, Mr. Wu, is 33 years old.
啊，我的客人呢，他今年是吴先生，是33岁，今年。
I deny the allegation, especially about MHET. I don't think he needs any of that.
我全部的否认他对我们的这样子的一个指控啊，特别是做什么精神的评估，那这完全是不需要的。
He's very smart, brilliant. He came to US about 15 years ago.
他非常聪明啊，他非常的精明的人啊，15年前来到美国。
He went to Troy College in Alabama, and then he transferred to Georgia State University for a bachelor's degree.
他在 Troy 阿拉巴马的学校读大学，后来转学到我们的乔治亚州州立大学读书的。
He even has a master's degree for computer science, and his job is very good. He makes very, very good income.
他后来还读了硕士学位啊，是电脑计算机的学位啊，他还有一个非常好的工作，非常好的工作。
He denies there was no suicidal attempts. He has no he literally denies all the allegations.
他绝对否认啊有任何的自杀的倾向，还有其他的要杀人什么要杀他，还这完全这个是不实的指控。
My concern is that he has a diabetes and he's not been able to take his medicine for the last several days. So I would like to request for a signature on bond so he can return home to take care of his medical needs.
我最大的关怀关心是认为他需要的照顾是这位被诬赖的人，他应该是回去照顾他的他糖尿病的问题，因为他好几天没有吃药了。我请法官让他能够自己回去，什么保健都不要，让他回家去照顾他的身体。
He has no objection to stay away, nor no further contact.
那对刚才所提到的，要他离开远一点，不要跟他有任何的再进一步的接触我们没有问题，吴先生绝对同意的。
We would like to request for a signature on bond. Thanks.
我们还是请法官要求，请法官容许我们用 signature bond 就可以让我们走。
Let me say something.
No,
你千万不要讲
I
话，
strongly recommend you not to.
千
You
万不
have
要
a
讲话
right， to remain silent.
你一定要保持沉默的权利来使用千万不要讲话。
All right. At this time, defendant will receive a $2,500 signature bond through pretrial per judge.
那我现在判决2500块钱signature bond 我同意。
He will have no contact with the alleged victim.
跟目前指控的说据说是他来有暴力的这个受害者，他不要跟他有接触就好了。
He is to stay away from that location.
刚才所讲的那个地点他这350的地点离开远一点就是了。
He can return one time with a member of law enforcement to get any item.
可以有一次有警察陪同回去，把他自己的东西从那家里面拿出来一下，可以回去一次。
Is he, Ms. Nash, can he take the one-day anger awareness course if he needs interpretation?
I believe so, Your Honor. I also would like to request for a third-party transfer for his child.
Okay. And that was a yes, though, Ms. Nash, confirming?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, he's gonna take the one-day anger awareness.
需要去拿一天的一天来上课，怎么样子的来控制我们的脾气。
And he is having no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
不要去喝酒不要去吸毒，而且身上不要带任何的武器。
I will permit him to coordinate transfer of the children through a third party.
我也同意他能够把他的小孩子到时候见面的时候，可以到第三方的时候一起见面都可以的。
Is there anything further from either party?
Nothing further from defense.
No, Your Honor.
All right. Best of luck to you, Mr. Wu. That concludes your case.
吴先生，祝你好运今天我们就到这边，你可以走了。
Mr. Cho, before you leave us, will you sound to see if anyone else needs your assistance?
里面还没有什么任何的需要我来翻译的讲中文的或者听得懂我的语言的，需不需要我的翻译？里面还有没有？请问一下，法官想要问大家有没有这个人
All right. Hearing and seeing none. Thank you, Mr. Cho. Have a good afternoon.
？Thank you, Your Honor. You too. Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
All right.
Your Honor, next we got position number 26, the interpreter case, Spanish interpreter. This is Luis Vergara.
Okay. Mr. Vergara, your case, I'm sorry, Ms. Chancey, please raise your right hand and state your name for the record.
My name is Adriana Chancey.
Ms. Chancey, do you swear and affirm today that you will make an accurate translation from English to Spanish, Spanish to English to the best of your skills, knowledge, and ability?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
Thank you. You can put your hand down. All right. Mr. Vergara, your case is 23 CR 004022F.
Señor Vergara, su número de caso es 23CR 004022F.
In this case, you charged with simple battery, family violence.
Con un cargo de golpes y lesiones simples, violencia familiar.
For the offense dated June the 25th.
Y el día del incidente fue el 25 de junio.
You have an absolute right to remain silent. Anything you say around the facts of your case can and will be used against you.
Usted tiene el derecho a guardar silencio. Todo lo que diga acerca de los hechos del caso puede ser usado en su contra.
You have a right to an attorney today, and Ms. Karen West is here to represent you.
tiene derecho a ser representado por un abogado y la abogada Webb está aquí para representarlo.
This proceeding is being broadcast over the internet as a live stream. It's also being recorded.
Esta sesión está siendo publicada a través de la internet y también está siendo grabada.
Do you understand your rights and how I'm conducting this hearing?
¿Usted entiende sus derechos y cómo estoy dirigiendo esta sesión?
Sí.
Yes.
All right. Ms. Nash, can I have the history, please?
Defendant has one prior cycle.
El acusado tiene un ciclo previo.
The defendant's last arrest was June the 1st, 2022 in Fulton County.
El último arresto del acusado fue el 1 de junio del 2022 en el condado de Fulton
For simple battery.
debido a golpes y lesiones simples.
That case appeared to be still pending.
Parece que ese caso continúa pendiente.
That case number is 22 CR 00348 and the letter F.
El número de caso en el caso pendiente es 22 CR 003 480F.
Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
Nada más, su señoría.
All right, Ms. Minion?
Your Honor, June 25th of this year at 550 Abernathy Road in Sandy Springs,
En el 25 de junio de este año, en el 550 de Abernathy Road en Sandy Springs,
officer responded and met with Jesus Vergara, who's a child of the defendant.
los oficiales respondieron y contactaron a Jesús Vergara, quien es el hijo del acusado.
Mr. Vergara stated that his father intentionally struck him in the face with an open hand during a verbal argument.
El señor Jesús Vergara dijo que su padre trató de agredirlo golpeándolo con la mano abierta sobre su cara.
The officers observed light bruises on Mr. Vergara's face.
Y los oficiales observaron unos moretones más o menos no tan serios en la cara del señor Jesús.
This is the second case involving the same victim.
Este es el segundo caso involucrando a la misma víctima.
In the prior case, defendant fled in the first case when the cops were called prior to his arrest.
En el primer caso, el acusado huyó antes de que se llamara la policía.
The state asks for $1,500 in cash bond, no further contact with Mr. Jesus Vergara, family violence and intervention program, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
La fiscalía requiere $1,500 de fianza en efectivo, no tener más contacto alguno con el señor Jesús Vergara y también tomar un curso de intervención y que quede prohibido el uso de drogas, alcohol y armas.
I'm sorry, the amount again?
$1,500, Your Honor.
Okay. All right.
It is, I'm sorry, Your Honor, it is 1,500?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Ms. West, please proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. My client, I'm here on behalf of Greg Schwartz, who is in court elsewhere this afternoon, Your Honor. Mr. Vergara is 48 years old. The alleged victim in this case is the adult son of the defendant.
El acusado tiene 48 años y estoy reemplazando a su abogado. La víctima es un adulto, su hijo adulto del señor.
So we're not dealing with a crime against a child here, Your Honor. What we're requesting is a $1,500 bond by cash or to your property and no contact with the alleged victim. I understand that their living situation will change, so they won't be required to be in direct contact with one
One
another.
moment, please. Esto no se trata de un crimen en contra de un menor, por eso pedimos $1,500 de fianza en efectivo o bajo garantía y no tener más contacto con la víctima. Están viviendo juntos en el presente. Thank you. Go ahead, madam.
It is our belief that a separation in contact between the parties would satisfy any concerns moving forward.
Creo que la separación de ambos y el no continuar teniendo contacto entre ellos va a satisfacer las necesidades de este caso.
I'm gonna sound for Mr. Vergara. I apologize. I should have done that. Mr. Vergara, if you're present on the Zoom conference and wish to make a statement.
Señor Vergara, Jesús Vergara, si está presente en la plataforma, por favor, podría prender su cámara.
I don't see you.
Señor Vergara, Jesús Vergara.
Do you wish, oh, is that you at iPhone, Mr. Vergara?
Señor, usted tiene ahí con iPhone. Prenda su micrófono, por favor.
Do you wish to make a statement? We need you to unmute and raise your right hand if you do.
Si quiere decir algo, necesita usted prender su micrófono y levantar su mano derecha.
Is he frozen?
Creo que quedó congelada la imagen suya.
Okay, I'm gonna assume he wishes to make a statement and give him about 2 minutes or 30 seconds or so.
Señor, su imagen está congelada. ¿Podría indicar si quiere hacer una declaración?
Okay, at
Alicia.
this time, defendant will receive a $1,500 surety bond. He's to have no contact with the alleged victim at this time, as I do not believe there's been sufficient cooling off.
El acusado recibe una fianza de $1,500 bajo garantía y se prohíbe el contacto con la víctima porque no ha habido un suficiente largo tiempo para que la situación se tranquilice.
Hello.
Oh, there he is.
Okay. Wait, stop. If you wish to make a statement, raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth to the best of your knowledge and under the penalty of perjury?
Yes.
All right, you can put your hand down. Let me give you some instructions. I'll let Ms. Chancey interpret what I'm saying.
Va a necesitar que le ayude o quiere intentarlo en inglés y yo ayudarle si necesita.
Wait, I'm not sentencing anyone today.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, translate, Ms. Chancey, please.
Yo no estoy, voy a sentenciar o interrogar a nadie hoy.
So what's most important to me is whether you wish to have contact with the defendant or if you have any fear regarding him.
Yo lo que necesito saber es que si usted desea tener algún contacto con el acusado o si usted le teme al acusado.
If you disagree with any of the facts alleged by the state, that's not of critical importance today.
Si usted no está de acuerdo con algunas de las descripciones que hizo la fiscalía, eso no es importante hoy, no se va a considerar.
In light of those instructions, what do you wish to tell me?
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I cannot hear very
Oh,
well.
because of those, what would you wish to tell me, sir?
Oh, ¿qué desea decirme? ¿Puede hablar en inglés, señor?
One, I don't have any bruises, so I don't see where, if you can see me, I don't have any bruises.
No. What I'm asking you is if you wish to have contact with the defendant or if you have any fear or concern.
I don't have any fears, and I wish to have contact with the defendant.
All right. We'll modify that order in light of the statement. He will still receive a $1,500 surety bond, and he's to have no further violent contact with the alleged victim.
Entonces, de acuerdo a este testimonio que he escuchado, la fianza es de $1,500 bajo garantía y queda prohibido el contacto violento con la víctima.
And he's to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
Tampoco queda prohibido el uso de drogas, alcohol y armas.
Is there anything further from either Ms. West or Ms. Nimini?
¿Hay algo más de parte de la fiscalía o la defensa?
Sí,
Nothing from the defendant.
tengo una pregunta. Entonces,
I have a
podía
question.
a tratar de arreglar cosas con mi papá.
So could I try to fix things with my father?
Give Ms. West a call. I'm sure she'll explain what happened today, okay? We have a long calendar and I can't sit and explain. I apologize.
Tiene que contactar a la señora abogada y hacerle esa pregunta a ella, porque no tenemos
Right.
tiempo para eso.
Mr. Vergara, that concludes your case. Best of luck to you. And Ms. West, if that it concludes your business, you can be excused.
Thank you, Your
Señorita-
Honor.
Señora West también concluye su tarea y señor Vergara también su caso concluye aquí.
All right, Ms. Chancey, will you please down before your departure?
Yes, Your Honor. ¿Hay alguien que necesita la asistencia de un intérprete en español? I don't think, Your Honor.
Ms. Chancey, take care. Have a good day.
You
Thank
too. Good to see you.
All right, are we able to take Mr. King's position next?
Your
This is-
Honor, he's actually in the chair right now, position number 14, Christian Leon.
Okay.
Judge.
Okay. Other private attorneys on the line, if so. All right, Mr. Leon, your case is 23 CR 004-017E. You're charged with DUI, driving while your license is suspended or revoked, hit and run, and obstruction. Do you understand your rights?
Let's say something. Yes, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Nash? Ms. Nash, if you're speaking, you're muted.
Can you hear me now, Your Honor?
Yes, I can.
The defendant has 4 cycles. The defendant's last arrest was August the 16th, 2022 in DeKalb County, Georgia, for fleeing or attempting to elude an officer and knowingly driving a motor vehicle on a suspended or canceled or revoked registration. There was no disposition for that arrest. He does appear to be on probation in Forsyth County, Georgia for a DUI. That disposition date was August the 10th, 2022, and the term is for 12 months. There are no other convictions listed in the GCIC, Your Honor. Nothing in addition.
All right, thank you. Ms. Paul?
Yes, Your Honor. The defendant also had his license suspended as a result of that suspension date, August 10th, 2022. In that case as well, the driving under the influence with the sentence of 2022, he also is speeding 118 in a 65-mile-per-hour zone. He also has a NOLO on November 15th of 2021 for failure to obey signs or control devices, and a conviction for September 7th, 2021 for failure to obey a stop sign. And so that is his prior driving history. I just wanted to alert Your Honor to that as well. And my apologies. He also has a June 7th, 2021 conviction for improper erratic lane change, unlawful use of wireless device. In this particular case, Your Honor, the defendant was on June 25th, 2023 at the intersection of Sidney Marcus Boulevard and Lindbergh Plaza. It was approximately 3 a.m. Their officer saw a vehicle accident at that location and saw a black Cadillac smoking from the hood. The officer spoke with Anthony Njorge, who stated that the Cadillac had swiped his vehicle at a high rate of speed and that 2 individuals were getting out of the vehicle. One of them was immediately arrested, but Mr. Njorge stated he saw a man who he believed was the driver run from the vehicle. The officer then began canvassing the area, spoke with an unknown female who stated that a random man attempted to get into her vehicle and asked her to take him from the location. She pointed to an alley and the defendant fled from the officers despite numerous verbal commands, hid behind a trash compactor, and was taken into custody. Inside the vehicle, an empty alcohol bottle was located in the front passenger seat, which gave rise to the DUI charge, I believe. The state's recommendation on this case, Your Honor, it appeared the defendant has 4 charges. The state did NOD the fleeing and attempting to elude, since that was on foot and not in a vehicle, which is the basis for the obstruction. State's recommendation is a $5,000 surety bond on the DUI, a $1,000 surety bond on the driving while license suspended, a $1,000 surety bond on the hit and run, and a $1,000 surety bond on the willful obstruction, for a total of an $8,000 surety bond. The state is also asking for no alcohol, drugs, or weapons whatsoever. We're further asking the defendant not be permitted to drive. He already has a suspended license, and this would be his, he has a previous conviction for DUI, so that we ask that he not drive in any way, shape, or form unless it is to work or his court appointments. And we are also asking for an ADET. That's all for the state.
Mr. King, please proceed.
Briefly, Judge, in terms of the DeKalb County charges, I can say those have been dismissed. That's why they're not showing a disposition on those. We got notification of that. I don't know a ton about this particular incident. I just learned about this today. And certainly, given his driver's license issue, whatever bond the court poses, it makes sense that he not be permitted to drive, at least until, if I'm able to get his license fixed. So I would just ask, as long as he has no license, that he not drive. I'm asking the court to consider, he's got very limited resources, Your Honor. He's pretty much been independent, living on his own since a young age. I'm asking the court to consider a $2,500 bond. I have no objection to the alcohol and drug evaluation. That seems appropriate in this case. But I'd ask the court to consider a $2,500 surety bond with the other restrictions the state asked for, the driver's license issue until he can get it reinstated, and an alcohol and drug evaluation.
All right. We will order the ADET, so Ms. Falk, if you could begin preparing it. Defendant is going to receive a $3,500 surety bond. 2,000 count 1, 500 for each remaining count. He is not to drive unless he has a valid license issued by the Georgia DDS. And I believe I've addressed all conditions. Additionally, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Anything further?
Nothing further from us, Your Honor.
You're muted, Ms. Falk.
Apologies. Did you say you were recommending ADET?
Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor. That's all for the state.
All right. Mr. King, does that conclude your business?
It does, Your Honor.
You can be excused. Take care. Have a great
Thank you.
afternoon.
All right.
Are there any other private attorneys on the line? All right, hearing and seeing none. Who do we have next?
Your Honor, we're going to go to the co-defendant case, which is position 3, position 24, and I believe position 25.
I lost my chat where there was, when I logged out, regarding who was co-defendant, so thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, it's position 4, 23, and 24.
Okay,
Sorry.
so we're doing Oddly Dennis.
We're going to do them all at the same time, Your Honor?
That's fine. Oddly Dennis, and who was the other person?
We have Audley Dennis. We also have Cornelius Stewart Goodman and Rona Stewart Goodman.
Okay, those are the end of the calendar. We still kind of have to do them individually so we can get the history, but we can group the facts all together. So let Mr. Dennis sit in the chair. Let's do him first.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Dennis, your case is 23 CR 004000E. You're charged with criminal trespass. You understand, right?
Yes.
Can I have the history, Ms. Nash? Ms. Nash, the history?
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I apologize. I didn't know.
That's okay. Please give it a history.
The defendant has 6 cycles. The defendant's last arrest was December the 6th, 2022 in Pasco County, Florida for battery. He does appear to be on probation in Florida for battery. That disposition date was December the 12th, 2022, and the term is for 12 months. There are no other convictions listed in the GCIC. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Ms. Nimini?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Audley, this occurred June 24th of 2023 at 241 Betsy Avenue in Atlanta. On June 23rd, Officer Duncan responded to Betsy Avenue for a suspicious vehicle parked in the driveway. Upon his arrival, he spoke with the caller, the victim, Ms. Keisha Benton, who said that she left her home for vacation on June 6th and began renting the place at 341 Betsy Avenue on May 3rd. When she returned home that day, she found a vehicle in her driveway that did not belong there. She stated that her landlord had called her and told her that she would be fined for illegal dumping, but she was out of town at that time. So when she arrived, she spoke with a neighbor who spoke and told her that he witnessed two males entering her home on June 18th at 10:10 p.m. He told her that they removed belongings in at least 24 garbage bags. He also stated that they were in the home and the light was on. She has provided a copy of her rental agreement, and it shows that she did start renting the place on May of 2023. She provides that she gave no permission for anyone to be in the home while she was gone. She attempted to knock and talk to the individuals in the home, but did not get an immediate response. After a couple of minutes passed, the door opened. A Black male was identified as Mr. Denlis, exited the home. He gave verbal demands, detained, and Mr. Dennis was detained. And the other two occupants, Ms. Rona Stewart Goodman and Mr. Cornelius Goodman, were also detained. A security sweep occurred, and Ms. Goodman used to reside at 334 Betsy Avenue and was evicted the week prior, and stated that he witnessed two males remove Ms. Benton's belongings from the home and had seen Ms. Stewart at the original home at 334 Betsy Avenue prior to the day that they entered. He also captured them going through the mailbox and removing her mail. Mr. Dennis also said that he moved from Florida and that he and Mr. Goodman and Ms. Stewart Goodman found the home on Craigslist, and they all paid $1,000 for each of the lease agreement, and they made a payment via Cash App, but never made contact with anyone before he moved into the home. There was a key that was found on the porch that did not work for the doors, but the back door was unlocked. He stated that he did remove the belongings that were in there, and they determined that the agreement that they said they had was fraudulently made. They believe that someone was outside breaking in. That's why they came outside, but it was the police officers. Ms. Goodman states that she was residing at 334 before she was at the 341 at Betsy Avenue before her belongings were put on the porch. Ms. Goodman also says she has paid money for the utilities, and then she gave money.
So essentially they were there and not supposed to be, and I think I've got the flavor of it. Okay, so your recommendation?
So for Mr. Dennis to keep on as status with the same conditions, but it to include to stay away from the 3-4 Betsy Avenue location, no alcohol and drugs. And can I say for the other defendants?
Wait, before you do that, what is the bond? You said the bond will remain as set. What is it set at? What's the current bond?
It's $1,500, Your Honor.
Okay, let's just stick with that one for now. All right, Ms. Will, your position?
Thank you, Judge.
I'm sorry, Ms. Nimini?
I apologize. I also wanted to sound for the victim.
Okay, go ahead, Ms. Will.
Thank you. Mr. Dennis is 47 years old. He has resided in Georgia for the past 3 months. He moved here, relocated here to be closer to his mother. He is currently employed through a temp agency called Manolo as a warehouse worker. He will qualify to receive representation from the public defender's office. He has 3 children, which he pays child support for. He tells me that he was under the understanding that there was a valid contract for them to be in the home, that they found the home, it was listed on Craigslist, and that the key was left under the mat. He is unable to afford the current $1,500 bond. I would request a signature on bond and ask that, and I have already explained to my client that he cannot return there. He does understand that. He is currently residentially challenged, and I have already sent an email to our social workers for someone to speak with him about housing resources. We would also like to request a one-time law enforcement escort for him to gather any belongings that he might have left at the residence. But now that he is left without being able to reside there, he has nowhere else to go alternatively.
Okay. And what was the victim's name? What's her name, Ms. Nimini?
Miss Kanisha Benton.
Ms. Benton, are you on the line? Ms. Benton, if you would like to make a statement, we'll need you to unmute, but my preference is that you make your statement once I've gotten to the last of the defendants. We cannot hear what you're saying. Okay, I can't make heads or tails of that. If you want to log out and log back in, we might be able to hear you. Okay, so, at this time, defendant, I will lower the bond. He's gonna receive a $750 surety bond. He's to absolutely stay away from that address on Betsy Avenue and have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition. All right, can we go to position 8? I have the facts of that case. Is that the other co-defendant? No, that was not the co-defendant. I'm sorry, will someone give me the other number for the other co-defendant?
It's 23 and 24, Your Honor.
Okay, I apologize. I don't know where I got 8. Could we have position 23?
He's in courtroom 3.
All right, are you Cornelius Stewart Goodman? Just nod if you can hear me.
Yes.
Okay, and your case is 23 CR 004020E. In this case, you're charged with criminal trespass. Do you understand your rights?
Yes.
Can I have the history, Ms. Nash?
Defendant has 9 cycles. The defendant's last arrest was January the 4th, 2020 for obstruction of an officer. And sorry, let's see, where was that at? And unlawful possession of a weapon and handguns. And that was in New Jersey. That charge was dismissed June the 2nd, 2021. He does appear to have an outstanding hold out of New Jersey for neglect of a child. The date on that warrant is January the 13th, 2023. He does have prior felony convictions. There's one in 2021 out of New Jersey for possession of controlled substance. There was one in 2018 out of New Jersey for possession of controlled substance with the intent to distribute. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Nimini, I have the facts. What is your recommendation for bond?
Considering that we've already put the facts on record, the bond recommendation for Ms. Rona is to keep the bond at $1,500, but to also add no further contact.
No, this is 23. We're doing Cornelius first, then Ms. Rona. So
I'm
is it
sorry.
you also recommending 1,500?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Ms. McLeod?
Yes,
Good
yes, Your Honor. Good afternoon.
afternoon.
Mr. Goodman is 28 years old, Your Honor. He tells me that he came here from Florida with his family, with his mother and his stepfather. He tells me that he just recently started a job at Family Dollar, I believe he said he started. He also tells me that he is currently enrolled in college at Strayer University, studying for a bachelor's in business administration. He essentially said he was just staying with his mom at the house. He was under the impression that, you know, this was her house because she had a lease and he had, helped her to pay for this house. And they were there, they had been living there, and the police came in the middle of the night and evicted them. I think what happened, Your Honor, is that this family has been the victim, they have been the victim of a scam, Your Honor, based on what I understood after speaking with Mom, that there was actually someone, they saw this on Craigslist, they paid money to someone to move into the house, and the person just took their money and left them in this situation. Given the nature of the offense, Your Honor, I would ask the court to consider giving my client a signature bond. He really does not have any money to make bond at all. And I don't believe that he was in any way culpable, because it sounds to me that the family actually believed that they were dealing with a legitimate person and they were renting this house. There's a lot of this kind of rent fraud going on, Your Honor, where people have been doing this, renting houses to people that they feel are vulnerable, and then they take their money and leave the people in the lurch. When I spoke to Mom, she actually told me that she had received some money from an organization called Hope Atlanta Foundation to help her to pay the rent for this this house. So she's pretty much devastated about all of this, Your Honor. So I would ask the court to consider giving my client a signature bond so he can get out of jail.
All right, I'm actually gonna modify the last one that, Mr. Dennis is gonna receive a $1,500 signature bond through the jail. He's to stay away from that location.
Your Honor,
And Mr. Stuart Goodman will receive a $1,500 signature bond through the jail as well. He's to stay away from that location, have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
Thank you,
Judge.
All right, let's move to position 24.
Your Honor, I have a statement from the defendant that I want to put on the record.
From the defendant?
Statement
Yes.
from the defendant?
From the
Yes,
defendant?
Who
from
is
the victim, I apologize.
The victim will get a chance to make a statement. We have one more of these to go. All right, Ms. Rona Stewart Goodman, your case is 23 CR 004019E. You're charged with criminal trespass with the offense date of June 23rd. You understand your right? You nod if you understand your right.
Yes.
All right, can I have the history, Ms. Nash?
The defendant has 3 cycles. The defendant's last arrest was March the 19th, 2021 in Plainfield, New Jersey for aggravated strangulation. That charge was dismissed on February the 14th, 2023. The defendant has 1 prior felony conviction. It was in 2015 out of New Jersey for an unlawful possession of a weapon. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
And Your Honor, I apologize for interjecting, but as we are required by Marcy's law to put the
I'm
victim's
gonna
feelings on
let her
record.
make a statement. She's gonna make that statement and it will apply to all 3 cases. We have a 30 position calendar, Ms. Falk. I don't choose to be here till 6 o'clock.
I completely understand, but we do have rules to uphold, Your Honor.
All right, we will uphold them. We will post-date her statement such that she is allowed to speak to each position as they are. They're still in the current too. We are not violating Marcy's law. Please proceed, Ms. Nimini.
The victim has stated that the defendants took out all her belongings. She had big furniture, she had TVs, she had 3 TVs. There was a witness that's also noted that 2 other people did enter the home, and to put back on record that there were 24 bags of garbage taken out. She does not feel safe living at the home anymore, so she may be moving out. The home was also vandalized, as well as alcohol and cigarette butts and cigar remnants all over the place as well.
Okay, what's your recommendation?
For Miss Rona, 1,500 with no further contact with the victim, Miss Keisha Benton, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Stay away from the location.
All right, Miss, I'm sorry, please state your name for the record and please raise your right hand so I can place you under oath.
Wood.
The alleged victim in this case?
Now, come on when I call you name. Lawrence.
I'm sorry, what was the alleged victim's name again? We can't hear you. You're talking, but I can't hear what you're saying. I understand we can't hear you. Would you like to log out again? All right, log out and come back in. And again, the court would like to know that we gave the victim the opportunity to speak in the first case and she had technical issues. That's the only reason we went forward and can't move with the calendar. If you would like to drop off and come back on, we will wait for you. Please do that quickly.
Your Honor, with respect to my client who's sitting before you now, Mrs. Goodman.
I'm trying to let the victim speak, Ms. McLeod.
Oh, I thought she was gone off, Your Honor. My apologies.
No, she's off and trying to come back on. This is just. Ms. Champion, do you see her in the waiting room?
No, ma'am, not at this time.
Ms. McLeod, please proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 48 years old. She tells me that she is disabled. She moved from Florida with her boyfriend and her son. They moved to Georgia. And she tells me that because of her disability, she contacted an agency for help. The agency is called Hope Atlanta Foundation, and they provided her with $1,300 to pay for rent. She said she had seen this listing on Craigslist and she spoke with the person who is a Doris who arranged to meet her at the house. Doris didn't show up at the house, but she texted her a PIN number and said to use the PIN number to access the house. And this is how they got into the house. She said when she got into the house, she was a little taken aback because there was like garbage in the house. But she and they moved, they cleared out the garbage, because, they need somewhere to live, and they moved into the house. They'd been living there for approximately 2 weeks. She said she was fast asleep because she takes medication when the police officers came. And she said she had a cell phone and her wallet, which she was unable to take. So we would ask for a one-time police escort, so just so she can go back to retrieve her cell phone and her wallet, Your Honor. And I would definitely ask for a signature bond for these people, because I think, just based on what all three of them are contending, that there's a good possibility that they were victims themselves. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, is the alleged victim back on the line?
She's trying to connect right now, but she's not connecting.
I pray the Lord we can hear her.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, please raise your right hand and state your name for the record.
I am Keisha Benton.
Okay, Ms. Benson, do you swear and affirm the testimony you give today in the following cases will be the truth to the best of your knowledge? And we put all the case numbers onto the record to make sure that we are in full compliance with the law today. Hold one moment. The case numbers that you will be addressing and making one statement are the cases of Oddly Dennis 23 CR 004000E. You will also be making a statement that will be used in case 23 CR 004020E, the case of Cornelius Stewart Goodman, and 23 CR 004019E, Rona Stewart Goodman. I'm not sentencing anyone today, Ms. Benson. There will still be another court date where they will receive sentences as it pertains to this case. This is a mere bond hearing, and the purpose of bond is to determine whether or not a person will attend trial. There are other factors to be considered. Primarily, what we're concerned about today is the contact, and I know that you don't have any relationship with these people, so you would might, I'm assuming you don't want to have contact with them. If you disagree with facts as alleged by either the state or any of the defense attorneys, that's not what's of critical importance today. What's critically important is your safety and your concerns. In light of all of those instructions, what would you like to tell me?
Your Honor, thank you so much for being patient and allowing me to speak. I would like to just say that these individuals watch me come in and out of my home for at least 2 weeks. They full well just case me, Your Honor, and they changed the locks on my doors and locked me out of my own home. They took everything that I owned, Your Honor, and basically just kept all the things that they wanted for themselves. They threw away all my keepsakes, and they knew that I was outside trying to use my key to come in, and they stayed in there for like half an hour until they realized that the police was about to bust in. These people are not telling the truth about being scammed at all. These people are not victims, they are victimizers, and I'm afraid for my safety. And I just want you to make sure that they never return to my property. I understand that they are concerned about all the stuff that they did move into my home, but the police told me my landlord has to get that out. I am a renter. They have to find another way to get their stuff from my landlord. My landlord is going to remove their stuff. I don't know when. I'm working on that now. But I am afraid for my safety because I literally watched these people case me and my family. I just have one daughter. I watched them case me and my family for at least 2 weeks, Your Honor, and these people are not victims at all.
All right. I need to figure out their items, the one-time escort situation. I guess that would need to be coordinated through Ms. Benson's landlord, not Ms. Benson. So what we'll still do is they can collect their items, but they will have to do it with a police escort. The $1,500 signature bond will stand. However, they absolutely cannot go back to her location. They must stay within 1,000 yards of that address, other than the one-time police escort that should be coordinated, however it's coordinated. They are to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. And I'm actually going to send these through pretrial per judge. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Your
All right.
I'm
Your
sorry.
Honor, I apologize. I do not mean to interrupt. All three of them are going to change from a UJR to the jail to
Yeah.
a UJR pretrial services.
Yeah.
Is the last one $1,600?
It's 15.
15?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Judge Williams, was there no further contact or just to stay away?
Yeah, no further contact.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
Your Honor, can we go to the next cross-defendant cases?
Wait 1 second. Is everyone from the state and defense now satisfied with the adjudication of those 3 cases?
I am satisfied with it, Your Honor, because I think there's a reasonable doubt here, and I don't think my clients
Well,
should be
not the
penalized.
ruling, but just the proceedings. Is everyone satisfied that we made all the standards for how those cases should be comported? All right.
Yes.
All right, let's move to the next one.
Your Honor, can we go to the next cross-defendant cases? Position 10 and position 25. 10 is Johnson, 25 is Tucker.
Okay, good afternoon, Ms. Johnson. Your case is 23 CR 004013C. You're charged with battery, family violence. You understand, right?
Ms. Johnson's in courtroom 3. She needs to come.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. Come quick and tell me if you're saying right. Yes, no?
It's Mr. Tucker, Your Honor.
I was gonna do the position, okay. Ms. Johnson.
Mr. Tucker is the cross-defendant in this case.
Okay, I was doing 10 first, but we can go to 25. Okay, Mr. Tucker, you understand, right? Your case is 23 CR 004014C. You're charged with battery, family violence. You understand, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Can I have the history, Ms. Nash?
Mr. Tucker, Your Honor.
Yes, please.
The defendant has 2 cycles. The defendant's last arrest was February 12, 2017 in Thurston County, Washington, for assault, domestic violence. That charge was dismissed May the 17th, 2017. There were no convictions listed in the GCIC. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Fox, please proceed.
This incident happened June 23rd at 2202 Crest Ridge Drive in East Point at around 9:15 p.m. last night. Well, 3 nights ago. The officers met with the defendant Johnson, who stated that she was arguing with defendant Tucker when he grabbed her by the neck, leaving a small mark on the left side of her neck. Officers did observe that cut as well as her clothes, which had been thrown down the stairs. They did speak with defendant Tucker, who claimed he never grabbed defendant Johnson by the neck, and counterclaimed that defendant Johnson bit him on the right shoulder and accused him of cheating on her. Officers did observe a bite mark to his right shoulder. As for defendant Tucker, we are recommending a $4,000 surety bond, no further contact with Miss Naderi Johnson, as well as no alcohol, drugs, and weapons, and 1-day anger awareness. We are currently trying to determine which of these 2 individuals can stay away from the address. So we would like to hear from the public defender's office as well as the conflict defender's office, which of these 2 can stay at an alternative location, so that the state doesn't ask for a stay away for both of them. That's all for the state.
Thank you, Ms. Fox. Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 29 years old. He has been in the military for most of his adult life. He tells me that he recently retired from the military and he just was training to get his CDL. In fact, he was supposed to go for the testing today so that he could start working as a driver. He tells me that the incident location is his home. And he says it was a misunderstanding with himself and Miss Johnson, that she did accuse him of cheating. She was a little upset about that. And this was where the altercation happened. He denies that he struck her, Your Honor. They were just having an argument about she has access to his messages through iCloud, and she must have seen a message that she didn't like. He told me he even allowed her to call the person just to kind of confirm that there was nothing there. But it was just an issue like this. He is very concerned about Miss Johnson and himself being able to have contact, because he tells me that since they were arrested, they found out that she's actually pregnant. And that's a huge thing for him, that she's pregnant. He wants her to be safe and in a safe environment. He's not in the least bit afraid of her or anything. And he says he does not believe that she is afraid of him either. He just said it was an argument that they had, because of that. And he feels that she may have been a little emotional because she's pregnant. He did not know she was pregnant, but look, now that he found out, he kind of understands what may have happened. But this is his home, but he does not want her to be stopped from coming back there, because he does believe that this was not something that is a problem for both of them, Your Honor, and he believes that she is going to feel the same way about it. Given the fact that my client has no convictions, he has served his country honorably, I am going to ask the court to give him a signature bond so he can get out of jail, get back to testing for his CDL, and essentially getting back with his life and looking forward to this child that they're going to have. Nothing further, Your Honor.
And who represents Ms. Johnson? Is it you, Ms. Wells?
Yes, Your Honor.
And the information you have regarding who would need to stay away from the residence?
My client is requesting that she be allowed to return there. She is originally from California. She does not have a support system. And as Ms. McLeod stated,
Right, I understand she wants to go back there, but if I decide that there's no further contact, where does she have a location she could stay at? Because the information I have is the information correct that it is his home?
Yes, the home belongs to Mr. Tucker. My client resides there with him along with her 14-year-old child. She does not have anywhere else to go, and she would like to have contact and be allowed to remain at the residence.
Okay. All right. At this time, defendant will receive a $3,500 surety bond. He's to have no further violent contact with the alleged victim, and he's to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition. Is there anything further?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
Nothing from the defense, Your Honor.
All right, let's go right into Ms. Johnson's case. Ms. Johnson, I read your number earlier. Do you understand, right?
Yes.
All right. Ms. Nash, can I have her history?
Yes, Your Honor. The defendant has 5 cycles. The defendant's last arrest was May the 24th, 2021 in Oakland, California for fight/challenge fight and threatened crime with the intent to terrorize. There was no disposition for that arrest, and there were no convictions listed in the GCIC, Your Honor. Nothing in addition.
Thank you. Ms. Hall?
I have a little bit of a discrepancy from what pretrial has. I show that there was a conviction on that case, on the 2021 case, as well as a conviction in California on 2016 case for false information to law enforcement officers. So we're actually showing 3 cycles in California, 2 of which were convictions, and no cycles in Georgia other than this case. You've already heard the facts. The state's recommendation is a $5,000 surety bond, no further contact with DeMarcus Tucker, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. We are asking for a stay away from the address at 2202 Crest Ridge Drive in East Point, and 1-day anger awareness.
Ms. Wells?
Thank you. My client is 31 years old. She has resided in the state of Georgia for almost 1 year. She is currently employed by Fax Ally Health Services as a CNA. She's been employed there for the past 7 months. She also is in school with Singleton Surgical, where she is studying sterile processing. She does have one 14-year-old daughter, as I mentioned previously, and she is currently pregnant. My client states that she and Mr. Tucker were involved in an altercation. Any action that she took was out of self-defense. However, she would like to remain in the home and continue to have contact. I am asking for a signature on bond. And if Your Honor is not so inclined, I would ask that her bond not be over $500, as she does have very limited resources.
And Your Honor, I double checked that. She received 3 years conviction for 3 years probation for that false ID to peace officers. And on that 2021 case, it was treated as disturbing the peace at a university, and she was given 1 year probation on that case.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Hall. All right, defendant will receive a $3,500 surety bond. She's to have no further violent contact with the cross defendant and have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Is there anything further?
Nothing further from the state.
Nothing from the defense.
Best of luck to you, Ms. Johnson. Who do we have next?
Next, Your Honor, can we go to the next cross-defendant case? It's going to be position 9, Mrs. Jenkins, and position 28, Mr. Wilkes.
So we're gonna do Mr. Wills first?
We can, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll do that one first. Mr. Wilkes, your case is 23 CR 004012Y. I'm sorry, you're charged with battery family violence. Do you understand your rights?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Nash, can I have his history, please?
Defendant has 1 prior cycle. That was on August the 20th, 2012 in Troy, Alabama for theft by shoplifting. There was no disposition for that arrest. There are no convictions listed in the GCIC. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
Ms. Hall?
Yes, Your Honor. As far as this case is concerned, it happened on June 24th at 1023 Camilla Street Southwest at 6:56 p.m. Defendant Wilkes stated that she and defendant Jenkins got into an argument about Miss Jenkins' son not wearing a foot brace. Defendant Wilkes stated that defendant Jenkins pushed him into a vehicle, causing a dent, and then struck him in the lip with a tablet, leaving a laceration to his bottom lip, which was visible to officers. Defendant Jenkins, on the other hand, stated that it was defendant Wilkes who pushed her into the vehicle, causing a dent, tried to choke her, and then pushed her into a pole, causing her to fall to the ground. Defendant Jenkins also stated that two of her children, VT, 7 years of age, and LT, 9 years of age, attempted to intervene, and that LT was kicked by defendant Wilkes. Officers did not note any injuries to the two children, but did observe bruising to Miss Jenkins' left shoulder and a scratch to her left arm. Both of them live in the same residence together, but do not share children. This is Mr. Wilkes' second arrest. As you heard, he has a previous 2012 arrest for theft by shoplifting in Alabama. The state's recommendation is $3,000 surety bond. Stay away from 1023 Camilla Street Southwest in Atlanta. No further contact with Mashandra Jenkins. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and 1 day anger awareness. That's all for the state.
Ms. McLeod?
Your Honor, my client is 32 years old. As pretrial stated, he has one remote arrest, and they're not sure about the disposition, but even if it was a guilty plea or a conviction, this is remote and it is not in the least bit related to violence. So he has no history of violence whatsoever. My client and Ms. John's, the alleged victim, I can't remember her name right away, but they do not live together. Contrary to what is stated in the warrant, my client has a separate address, which he provided to me. My client actually lives in Selma, Alabama, Your Honor. He said he was visiting his girlfriend, about a 3-year relationship, he tells me, for a barbecue this weekend, and they got into an argument. He says he's not sure who called the police, whether she did or not, but he did not. And he denies that he was violent in any way with her, Your Honor, and he has no history of violence. I would ask the court to give my client his signature bond so he can get out of jail and get back to his job. He tells me he works as a stock clerk and has been doing that for some time. He's also a student at the University of Phoenix, currently studying, Your Honor. I think he's a good candidate for signature bond, and I would ask the court to give him one. And he would prefer no further violent contact, but as I stated, he does not live at this location. Nothing further, Your Honor.
At this time, the defendant will receive a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial for a judge. He's to have no contact with the cross defendant, and he is to stay away from the incident location. He's to take the 1 day anger awareness course and have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Is there anything further?
I apologize, Judge. Well, you said 3,000?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, anything further, Ms. Falk, Ms. McCollum?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Nothing on this case, Your Honor.
All right, and we'll move to Ms. Jenkins. All right, let me go back. Ms. Jenkins, let me see. She was positioned.
It's position 9, Your Honor.
I'm scrolling slowly. All right. Ms. Jenkins, your case is 23 CR 004010Y. You're charged with battery family violence. You understand you're right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Nash.
The defendant has 4 cycles. The defendant's last arrest was August the 8th, 2019, for making a false report, and that was in Florida. That charge was null pros on October the 1st, 2019. There are no convictions listed in the GCIC. Nothing in addition.
Ms. Falk.
Your Honor, you've already heard the facts on this case. State's recommendation is a $3,000 surety bond, no further contact with Martin Wilkes, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and 1 day anger awareness. We are not requesting a stay away on this case, as we've already done so for defendant Wilkes. That's all for the state.
Ms. Will.
Thank you. My client is 31 years old. She is the owner of Galactic Cleaning. She has owned that business for the past 4 years. She is also attending the University of Phoenix and also taking courses to obtain her real estate license. She does have 5 children that reside in the home with her. I would also request a signature on bond in this case. And my client does deny the allegations as alleged.
All right, defendant will receive a $3,000 SOB through pretrial per judge. She'll take the 1 day anger awareness course, have no contact with the cross defendant, and have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. there anything further?
Nothing from the state.
All right. I understand you have a question. The best thing for you to do is to speak to Ms. Wells. Ms. Wells, will you give the jail a call?
Yes.
All right.
Your
All right.
Honor, that concludes my business before the court today. May I be excused?
Yes, you may. Take care.
Thank you.
All right, who do we have next?
Your Honor, we're going to continue in courtroom 3.
All right, who do we have next?
Position number 12.
And can Ms. Jenkins be allowed to call Ms. Wells?
I'm also representing position 12.
Okay. We'll take this position, then go to PD Kim, and then maybe you can give the jail a call there. All right.
And can I please be provided the number for courtroom 3? I sent a message in the chat.
I'm sorry. Position number 12 is next.
Right, we're taking 12, but Mr. Wells was asking for a number. All right, are you Angel Laylor?
Yes, ma'am.
Your case number is 23 CR 004016G. You're charged with simple battery. You understand, right? Yes? You understand?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Nash?
The defendant does not have any prior arrests on file, Your Honor. Nothing in addition.
Okay, Ms. Paul?
Yes, Your Honor, this incident happened June 24th, 2023 at 5555 Roswell Road in Atlanta. Officers were called out to a civil dispute, saw several females talking by a car, and then when he came back around, he saw the defendant swinging at Kiari Jackson, who was seated in a vehicle. When he spoke to defendant Layler, she stated that she and Miss Jackson had been living together since January and they were moving out because they were getting evicted. She further stated that Miss Jackson did not want to move out on her timeline, and so they began arguing, and as the defendant described it, the argument escalated. The defendant struck Miss Jackson's face with her hand, and defendant originally claimed that Miss Jackson had a stick, but the officers never observed Miss Jackson with that stick or swinging a stick. And we have had an opportunity to speak with Miss Jackson. She stated she will be on Zoom and we would like to sound for her. She stated she was roommates with the defendant for approximately a month and that they got into an argument. She asked, the defendant asked her to take her belongings and move out. And Miss Jackson stated the defendant called the police to get her out. But when the police arrived, the defendant slapped Miss Jackson in the face. Miss Jackson also states she wants no further contact and she does not need to go back to the residence. So for that reason, we are not going to request a stay away. As this is the defendant's first arrest, we would be agreeable to a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial services, 1-day anger awareness, no further contact with Kiari Jackson, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. The state would like to sound for Miss Jackson.
Ms. Jackson, are you present? I wish to make a statement. Please
Yes,
raise your hand.
ma'am. I'm just on my way to work.
No. Please raise your right hand. Is she frozen?
I believe so. And if Miss Jackson is driving, I would advise
Ms.
her.
Jackson, are you
Yeah.
driving? Because you cannot make a statement while driving.
Okay.
Are you gonna pull over or what? Okay. You're muted, Ms. Paul.
Your Honor, if Miss Jackson is unwilling to pull her car over to make the statement, but it does appear she's unmuted herself, so she may have pulled over. But
have you pulled over, Ms. Jackson?
Yes, ma'am. I'm pulling over now.
Okay, you have like about 20 seconds to do so. And it needs to be that you're in a secure location.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, please raise your right hand. And your hand, let me see your other hand. You're off of it. You're not steering the wheel. Let me see your right hand, your left hand.
Yes, ma'am. I promise.
Okay, no hand. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth to the best of your knowledge under the penalty of perjury?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I am not imposing any sentences today. This is a bond hearing, and in misdemeanor cases, typically defendants are entitled to a bond. What I'm most concerned about, even though I will hear a full statement from you, is whether you wish to have contact with the defendant. In light of those instructions, what would you like to tell me?
No, ma'am, I don't want any physical contact with her.
All right, would you like to tell me anything else?
No, she just told me as she was getting arrested when she got would attack me. So I say that also. So I
I'm
would
sorry,
like to
the phone went
press
out.
charges so she can.
Okay, can you repeat that?
Yeah, when she got, I said I would. They asked me did I want to see and got out. So I don't want her nowhere around.
Okay. I believe I understand the substance of your statement. Thank you, Ms. Jackson. I appreciate you coming to court. Ms. Moore?
And Ms. Layler, you can put your hand down. Your Honor, I do not have any objection to the signature on bond. I would object to the one-day anger awareness course. My client does not have a criminal history. She is just 20 years old. She's a business owner as well as a student. She currently attends Tennessee State University and plans to transfer to Clark Atlanta. Ms. Jackson is a former friend of my client's and she was doing her a personal favor and it turned into this. My client does deny the allegations as alleged, but again, we do not have an objection to a signature on bond.
Okay, we will accept the state's recommendation in its entirety. 3,000 SOB through pretrial with the one-day anger awareness, no contact with the alleged victim, and I believe there was no request to stay away. Additionally, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. And if Ms. Will could be given the opportunity to please give the jail a call, I believe both of her clients now wish to speak with her. And we could go to a position that belongs to PD Kim, if possible.
Yes, Your Honor. I just heard my name.
Yes, I was asking if we could take one of your positions at the
Sure.
jail if possible.
Yes, I could do it. I apologize. My other laptop died, but
You're
I can.
fine, Ms. Kim, no worries. You didn't miss a thing.
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry.
All right,
For position number 12, what was the bond amount again, please?
3,000 SOB through pretrial.
Okay, thank you.
Your
I have
Honor,
position number 21 next.
Your Honor, I apologize for interrupting. The defendant is 20 years of age. Pretrial normally asks for a co-signer for anyone that's 21 years of age and under.
I thought it was 19. That's not correct anymore? I thought if you were over 19, you didn't require a co-signer. That's not correct?
That's not correct, Your Honor. It's 21 years
Okay,
or under.
okay, I believe that's
Go ahead.
Ms. Layla, do you have someone who can co-sign your signature by? Please only answer that question. Do not say anything else.
Yes.
Okay, and the name of your co-signer?
I can't hear you.
What is the name of the person who can sign to get you out of jail? Oh, it got muted. What is that name?
Eddie Lee Ivory.
Can you spell all of those just to make sure there's no chance for getting you out?
Ma'am?
Your Honor,
Please
I have
spell that.
Mr. Ivory here in the courtroom too. He's actually here.
Okay, so that's fine. All right, Ms. Nash, do you need anything else?
No, that'll be it, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. All right, who do we have next?
Your Honor, we can go to position number 4, Mr. Goodlow.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Goodlow, your case is 23 CR 004002J. Your charge is simple battery, family violence. Do you understand, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Can I have your history, please?
The defendant has 5 cycles. The defendant's last arrest was June the 22nd, 2023.
for possession of marijuana less than an ounce. And that was in Fulton County. He does appear to have an open case pending in Fulton County for that possession of marijuana, Your Honor. There was no case number provided, but in addition to that, he appeared to be on probation in Fulton County for robbery by sudden snatching. That case number is 19 SC 170223, and the term is for 4 years. That disposition date was August the 28th, 2019. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. James, please proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. This offense took place on March the 8th, 2023 at 1947 Grange Drive, Southeast in Atlanta. It appears that when the officer arrived, he located the caller who was sitting in her vehicle. And upon speaking to the caller stated that she went out on a date, and when she came home, the defendant, who is her son, was sitting in a swing by the front door. The victim of the caller stated that as she walked towards the door, her son pushed her down, causing her left knee to hurt. And she said that her son left the incident, after that. And the police were able to identify who the defendant was and that the defendant was her son. The victim's name is Tanya Burnett. That's spelled Burnette, and that is the defendant's mother. And the state is recommending a $2,500 surety bond, no for the contact with the victim, to stay away from the location at 1947 Grange Drive, Southeast Atlanta, and to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and 1-day anger awareness.
All right, I'm sounding at this time for Ms. Burnett. Ms. Burnett, are you on this Zoom conference and wish to make a statement? All right, hearing and seeing none, Kim, please proceed.
Your Honor, this is not my case. I believe that there was, this is actually a P.D. Wills case.
Oh, okay. And Ms. Wills has messaged that she's able to resume. Are you able to go forward on position 4? The state has recommended a $2,500 surety bond.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, please proceed, Ms. Wills. Thank you.
My client is 22 years old. He is a native of Georgia. He is currently unemployed, but he does have a high school diploma from Fulton Leadership Academy. He has a 2-year-old son. He does not desire to have any contact with his mother and will be staying away from the incident location, does not live with his mother. He does deny the allegations, but he does state that there was a verbal altercation that took place on that date. And he does not have any belongings or property at his mother's home. Again, this incident happened back in March. There have been no further incidents between my client and the alleged victim, and he has not had contact with her. So in light of that, I would request a signature on bond. If Your Honor is not so inclined, I would ask that his bond not be greater than $500, as he is unemployed and has no source of income.
Defendant will receive a $1,000 surety bond. He's to have no contact with Ms. Burnett. He's to stay away from the address on Grange Drive and have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Is there anything further?
I apologize, Judge Williams. I can't hear your bond. I'm sorry if I keep asking.
It's okay. 1,000, and I'll start messaging it to you as well, Ms. Strong.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anything further from State of Defense?
No,
Your Honor.
All right. Best of luck to you, sir. Who do we have next?
Position 21.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon, Ms. Myers. Your case is 23 CR 004008C. You're charged with battery. Do you understand your right?
Yes.
All right, Ms. Nash. I'm sorry, Ms. Jackson, are you?
All right. The defendant has 5 cycles. The defendant's last arrest was September the 4th, 2018 in Clayton County for driving without a valid license. The defendant does appear to have an open case pending in DeKalb County for expired or no license and exceeding the maximum speed limit. And she does appear to have an outstanding hold out of College Park, Georgia for assault. The date on that warrant was May the 7th, 2023. And she does have prior misdemeanor sentence and a conviction. The defendant received a nolo contendere sentence in 2019 out of Clayton County for driving while licensed. I'm sorry, for driving without a valid license. And there was a conviction in 2018 out of Smyrna, Georgia for reckless driving. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Stafford?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred on May 6, 2023 at 2:30 a.m. On that date, the victim, Ms. Marcia Gamble, was an employee of Heroes Haven in College Park, Georgia. The address is 4855 Old National Highway. The defendant entered the establishment along with another individual and asked the victim to be their waitress. After ordering multiple drinks for approximately 2 hours, both individuals began to hit the victim with their hands and other objects, including a chair. The defendant was also an employee of Heroes Haven. However, she was not at work at that time. She was just patronizing the establishment. The other party does currently have an open case for battery as well against this victim. Even though the defendant does not have any violence in her history, due to the nature of the violence in this particular incident, the state is asking for a $3,000 surety bond. Stay away from 4855 Old National Highway, College Park. No further contact with the victim, Marcia Gamble. Anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, or weapon. And at this time, we'd like to sound for the victim.
All right, Ms. Gamble, are you present? And wish to make a statement? Okay, I don't think I see that name. Ms. Wright, will you proceed?
Yes, Your Honor. I would like the state to double check any kind of open case. I think they mentioned an open case in DeKalb County. As far as Ms. Myers is aware, she has taken care of all of her cases and they've all closed, including any kind of probation. She is not on probation. Everything has been paid up. The facts of the case are significantly different than the state has alleged. My client was working that day. She was working a double shift. Her family and friends had come in before the complaining witness had come in for her shift. There were no chairs or weapons used that day. And I believe the police report indicates that security did not intervene. Security did intervene. I do hope that the state was able to collect any kind of surveillance that was in the restaurant itself so that we could work through that at trial. For now, my client is 33 years old. She has a high school diploma. She has a 13-year-old child that she herself puts through private school. She would like to go back home so that she can take care of her child. She does not have any violent charges in her history whatsoever, Your Honor. For that reason, I am asking for a signature bond.
All right. At this time, the defendant will receive a $1,000 surety bond. Choose to have no contact with the alleged victim and stay away from that location if she's not employed there or not working. Additionally, she's to have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Is there anything further?
That's all, Your Honor.
That's all, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. McLeod, you're back?
Yes, Your Honor. I had to come in to ask the court for an amendment of bond conditions of one of my clients, Mr. Wilkes. Apparently, he needs a one-time police escort back to the location, Your Honor, because his car is there. He drove from Selma there. He has his car and a few other little things there that he needs to pick up.
It escapes me the nature of that case, Ms. McLeod. The battery, I'm assuming it was the battery, okay, number 28. And he has the cross defendant, he can have a one-time return with police. He can return one time with a member of law enforcement in this item.
Thank you, Your Honor. This was important to him because his car is there and I think a couple of other things, other items.
All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All
May
right.
I be excused for a second time?
Yes, you may. Take care.
Thank you.
All right, who do we have next?
Position number 11.
All right. All right, is this Kyla Kirkland? Ms. Kirkland, your case is 23 CR 004015B. You're charged with false report. You understand, right?
Yes.
All right, Ms. Jackson, Ms. Nash, may I please have the history?
The defendant does not have any prior arrests on file. The defendant appeared to meet the criteria for UJR through the jail. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor, this incident was reported by Ms. Defendant Kirkland on June 4th, 2023. She reported her vehicle was parked at 3134 Peachtree Road Northeast around 11 p.m. She stated that she went to have drinks, and when she returned at 1 a.m., her vehicle is not where she parked it. The investigating officer then checked the status of her vehicle as part of entering it into the system as stolen, and saw that she had reported it stolen in May of 2023, but defendant claims she had last been in that area in May of 2021. Furthermore, she reported it stolen out of Florida with Errol Rodney as the suspect. The LP reader in that area of Peachtree Road also showed that her vehicle was in the same area that she had reported it stolen in May of 2023, even though the defendant insisted she had not been in the Atlanta area for the past 2 years. After further questioning, the defendant finally admitted that her vehicle had been taken in Florida. She claimed that her lawyer advised her to file a report in Atlanta since the defendant is known to be in that area. The officer also spoke to the Eatonville Police Department in Florida, who stated the defendant was in a business relationship with Errol Rodney, who possibly took the vehicle. However, none of this happened in Atlanta, which was contrary to what the multiple statements she gave regarding that. We are agreeable to a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial services, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. That's all.
Thank you, Ms. Falk. Ms. Wills, is there any objection to me giving her a $2,000 signature bond through the jail consistent with pretrial's recommendation?
No, Your Honor.
All right, is there anything else you'd like to put onto the record, Ms. Wills?
Only just that my client is 52. As it was stated, she does not have any prior criminal history. She owns her own company. She's a business owner. She will not qualify to be represented by the public defender's office, and she does deny the allegations as alleged.
All right, defendant will receive a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. Is there anything further, Ms. Falk or Ms. Wills?
Nothing from the state.
All right, thank you. Who do we have next?
Position number 6, Mr. Terry Headsmith.
All right, Mr. Headsmith, your case is 23 CR 7E. I apologize. In this case, you're charged with terroristic threat. You understand, you're right?
Yes.
All right, Ms. Nash.
The defendant has 16 cycles. The defendant's last arrest was July the 16th, 2012 in Fulton County for a probation violation. The defendant does have a prior felony conviction. It was in 2009 out of Muskogee County, Georgia, for forgery in the first degree. And the defendant does have misdemeanor convictions. It's one in 2002 for disorderly conduct. And there's one in 1999 for obstruction of an officer. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Ms. James. Ms. James, is this your case?
Yes, it is.
All right, please proceed.
Sure. Your Honor, this offense took place on June the 25th, 2023 at the location of 4120 Fulton Industrial Boulevard Southwest in Atlanta. The defendant, according to the report, threatened the victim, whose name is Phyllis Malden, by stating that he was going to beat her ass, excuse me, Your Honor, for the language, and told her friend, Mr. Dennis Harris, that he had something for him, shaking a gun in his pants pocket. The state is recommending here a $2,000 surety bond, no further contact with the victim, and to stay away from that location, 4120 Fulton Industrial Boulevard Southwest, and to have no alcohol, weapons, or drugs.
All right, I'm sounding for Phyllis Malden at this time. All right, hearing none, Ms. Wills.
Mr. Hedspeth is 45 years old. He is a native of Georgia. He is currently employed through a temp service, Top Notch, where he works as a warehouse worker, and he actually has a shift tonight that he's very eager to, and he's very eager to get back to work. He will qualify to be represented by the Public Defender's Office. The alleged victim in this case is Mr. Hedspeth's girlfriend. He would like to have no further violent contact with her. The incident location is the hotel where they both were staying, and that's also where he is currently residing. So I would ask that he be allowed to return there. The history that I heard is very remote as it pertains to my client. He does deny the allegations as alleged. He states that Ms. Molden does not reside at the hotel where he's staying and that he has never had any prior contact with the other alleged victim in this case. This seems to be very far outside of my client's character. Again, he is of very limited means. He is 45. I would ask that he be granted a signature on bond.
All right. Defendant will receive $1,000 surety bond. He is to have no contact with the alleged victim, and he is stay away from that location. If the victim still resides there, he can return with law enforcement to make that determination. Additionally, he needs to have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons as a condition. Is there anything further?
I'm sorry. You said $1,000 surety, no further contact with Ms. McClendon and Mr. Harris. Was it both or just her?
Both alleged victims.
Okay. And a stay away and one-time return.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I'm sorry, let me sound for the other victim. The other victim, what was the last name again? I apologize. Miss
Dennis Harris. Harris.
Okay, is Mr. Harris on the line? Or wishes to make a statement? Okay, hearing none, best of luck to you, sir. Who do we have now?
Position 19.
All right, are you Maisha Moore? Ms. Moore, your case is 23 CR 0040211. You're charged with theft by receiving no insurance, suspended registration, and acquiring a license plate for the purposes of concealing your vehicle. Do you understand your right?
Yes, Your Honor.
You said you understand your right?
Answer, do you understand your right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Ms. Jackson.
The defendant has 27 cycles. The defendant's last arrest was October the 11th, 2021 in DeKalb County, Georgia, for theft by shoplifting. The defendant does appear to have an open case pending in DeKalb County for theft by shoplifting. Also, the defendant appeared to have an open case pending in Fulton County for forgery in the 3rd degree. That case number is 21 CP 197434. The defendant did receive first offender treatment in 1997 for forgery in the 1st degree. That case was sealed July the 6th, 2017. And there is a felony conviction that was in 1999 for forgery in the 1st degree. The defendant does have misdemeanor convictions. It's one in 2015 out of DeKalb County for disorderly conduct, and one in 2013 out of Forsyth County for deposit account fraud, and one in 2010 out of DeKalb County for giving false information to an officer, and one in 2007 out of DeKalb County for theft by shoplifting, one in 2004 out of DeKalb County for obstruction of an officer. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. That was very clear. I appreciate that. Ms. Stafford, please proceed.
Yes, Your Honor, this incident occurred yesterday afternoon at 1:30 p.m. Officers received a hit for a stolen plate. The plate was listed as stolen out of DeKalb County and it returned to Mr. Jaquan Pass. That plate is registered to a 2017 white Audi A4, but it was on a Honda Accord. Officers observed this vehicle at the intersection of Roswell Road and Northridge. At that time, they initiated a traffic stop. When the vehicle stopped, the officers observed that the defendant, Ms. Moore, was the only person in the vehicle. Officers pulled her out of the vehicle, Mirandized her, and she stated that the plates to her car kept falling off, and she had a friend tape the license plate to the vehicle. Upon running a GCIC on the VIN of the vehicle did come back as belonging to the defendant. However, it returned with a suspended registration and no valid insurance on that vehicle. Due to the fact that the defendant currently has an open theft case in DeKalb, as well as an open forgery case and multiple other traffic violations, including several driving while suspended arrests, the state is currently asking that her $10,000 surety bond be reduced to $4,000 total, $1,500 for the theft, $500 for the no insurance, $500 for suspended registration, $1,500 for acquiring license, no further contact with Jaquan Pass, no driving without valid license tag or registration, no alcohol, drugs, or weapon. And at this time, the state would like to call for the victim.
Sorry, give me the name,
Jaquan Pass.
Pass. I'm sounding for Jaquan Pass at this time. All right, very nice, Ms. Wright.
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Moore is 51 years old. She suffers from bipolar disorder. She has all her life. She does live with her daughter, Portia, and her grandbaby. She is of very limited means, and I'm grateful that the state asked for a reduction. We would ask for as reasonable a bond as Your Honor is able to provide her.
All right, give me one moment.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, well, I'm trying to talk about it. Okay, defendant's gonna receive a $2,000 split line. Split as follows, it'll be 1,000 surety for count one, 250 signature through the jail for count two. I'm so bad at math, hold on, make sure I got this right. A 250 surety count three, and a $500 surety count four. So that should give us the 2,000 split. She is to not drive without valid registration and insurance and license. And additionally, she's to have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Is there anything further?
I'm sorry. Judge, I'm sorry. We can barely hear you out here at the jail. I'm sorry. Hey,
Huh? Okay, I'll say it again. She's gonna get a 2,000 split, 1,000 surety count one, 25 signature through the jail count two. I'm sorry, 250 signature through the jail count two, 250 surety count three, and 500 surety count four, for a 2,000 total split line. And she's not.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Okay, and I can try to put it in the chat if you can't hear me. I'll try that as well. All right.
Thank
you. Is there anything else to Ms. Stanford, Ms. Wright?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
All right, best of luck to you. Who do we have next?
Next, Your Honor, we have position number 7, Mr. Herring Bolden.
Okay, Mr. Henry voted. Your case is 23CR 004009C. You're charged with unlawful conduct during a 911 call. Do you understand your right?
Yes.
All right, Ms. Jackson.
The defendant has one prior cycle. The defendant's last arrest was June the 23rd, 2016 for theft by shoplifting, and that was in Gwinnett County, Georgia. That charge was dismissed September the 7th, 2016. Nothing in addition, Your Honor. The defendant does appear to meet the criteria for UJR through the jail.
Thank you. Ms. James?
Yes, Your Honor. This offense took place on June 24th, 2023 at the location of 350 Lanier Street Northwest in Atlanta. The defendant made a false report to 911 by calling and stating that he was in an altercation with his girlfriend and that she was in possession of a knife to try to get the officers to respond faster. And when the officers responded, he admitted to this being a false report. The state is recommending a $2,000 signature bond through a pretrial. And do not call 911 unless there's a real emergency, and to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
All right, Ms. Rose, any objection to me giving him a $2,000 SOB through the jail?
No, Your Honor. I would just like to say for the record that my client does deny the allegations as alleged.
All right, we will accept the state's recommendation with one modification. It'll be a $2,000 SOB through the jail. He's not to call 911 unless it's a true emergency, and he's to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Is there anything further?
Sorry, Your Honor, I didn't get that bond amount.
2,000 SOB through the jail.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Next, Your Honor, we have position number 16, Mr. Alexander Martin.
All right, Mr. Martin, your case is 23CR 004005F. You're charged with criminal trespass. Do you understand your right?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Jackson?
The defendant does not have any prior arrests on file, Your Honor. The defendant appear to meet the criteria for UJR through the jail.
Ms. Stafford?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred on June 24th, 2023 at 10:37 p.m. On that date, officers were alerted to a presence of a possibly stolen vehicle at 3016 Piedmont Road Northeast. When passing, the officer saw the vehicle that was described sitting in a parking lot. Officers then alerted the Georgia State Patrol for additional officers on scene. Upon arrival, officers approached the vehicle and removed the occupants, which was the defendant who was sitting in the passenger seat, and another person in the driver's seat. Once they detained the occupants, the vehicle was confirmed to be stolen. Officers then found a pair of black gloves in the driver's seat, a black flathead screwdriver, and 2 iPhone charger cords, as well as an ounce of marijuana, which we have NOD. The underbelly of the steering wheel console was visibly ripped out and cords were hanging as well, which indicated that the driver did not use a key to start the vehicle. The victim in this case is Mr. Hector Diaz. He currently resides in Columbia, South Carolina, which is also where the defendant resides. Due to the fact that the defendant is not a Georgia resident and is a South Carolina resident, we are currently asking that his $600 surety bond that is in place be increased to $1,500 since he has no ties to Georgia and no further contact with the victim, Hector Diaz, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. And at this time, if the victim is present, we would like to sound for him.
All right, Mr. Diaz, are you present and wish to make a statement? All right, Ms. Ray?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Martin is 20 years old. He is currently working on getting his GED. He does live with his mom in South Carolina. He works for a company where he has a sanitation role. He's been working for them for about 3 months now. On the night of this incident, he was just visiting a friend. I take issue with the idea that because he lives in South Carolina, he is somehow more of a flight risk. There's no evidence in his record that he would be. He has no record. Because he has no record and because he meets the criteria for SOB, we would ask for a signature bond on this case.
I'm sorry, was there a stay away location requested?
No stay away, Your Honor.
No stay away, okay, I was just making sure. All right, at this time, the defendant received a $5,000 signature bond through the jail. He's to have no contact with the alleged victim and have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Is there anything further?
No, Your Honor.
All right, best of luck to you, sir. Who do we have next?
Position number 5 is next.
All right. Are you Maria Gula or Gula, perhaps? Your case is 23 CR 004004G. You're charged with battery, family violence. Do you understand, right?
You gotta speak a little louder, right? Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Ms. Jackson or Ms. Nash?
Yes, the defendant does not have any prior arrest on file, Your Honor. Nothing in addition.
All right, thank you. Ms. James?
Yes, Your Honor. On June 25th, 2023, officers were dispatched to a domestic violence fight at the location of 10285 Twin Gate Drive in Johns Creek. Upon the arrival, officers spoke with 2 witnesses and the victim. It appears that the first witness was the defendant's father. He explained that the defendant was upset that they shut off her cell phone for the night, and she became enraged, and the victim started to record the defendant with her cell phone in the kitchen. The defendant didn't like this and stated that it was illegal and attempted to take or push the cell phone out of her mother's hand. And the father admitted that he only heard it and behind him as he stood in the kitchen. He didn't see the actual moment of the physical contact. However, the officers spoke with the victim and she confirmed the events, and she said that her daughter did scratch her on her forearm and slapped on her chest. And the officers noted that there were noticeable scratches on her arms, but no injuries to the chest. The older brother of the defendant stated that he was in a different part of the residence, but he heard the scuffle and a loud slap or bang. And that was when the victim interjected that her phone had fallen out of the hands during the scuffle. And the officers noted that they spoke with the defendant and that she confirmed what had happened. The state, based on this, is recommending a $1,500 surety bond, no further contact with the victim, stay away from the location, 1-day anger awareness, and no alcohol, weapons, or drugs. However, the victim has stated that she has not had any problems with the defendant since high school, and she wants to have no violent contact, and she wants the defendant to return to their home.
All right, I'm sorry, can you give me the victim's name one more time?
Sorry, I didn't give it to you. Her name is Connie Gula, Gula.
I saw Connie on here earlier. Ms. Gula, if you would like to make a statement, this is your opportunity to do so. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
All right, you can put your hand down. What would you like to tell me?
I just, I do not see a problem with her coming back as long as, she can control herself. And, I know that my son that did call the police to protect me, he's a little concerned about being in the home with her here, but he has made arrangements to go somewhere else if she does return.
All right, thank you. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor.
Miss Gula is 33 years old. She was born in Missouri. However, she has lived all her life almost here in Georgia. She's a single mom of 12 years old son. She has an associate degree and she's currently employed. She has been saving up money so that way she can be independent very soon. And yet it is very crucial for her and her son to reside together. Reside together with her wherever she is right now, 10-85. So we would like to request for a signature bond and no further violent contact, so that way she can return home and take care of her son. Thanks.
Okay. Okay, defendant will receive a $5,000 SOB through pretrial per judge. She's to have no further violent contact with the victim, complete the one-day anger awareness course, and have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Is there anything further? All right, best of luck to you, ma'am. That concludes your case. Who do we have next?
Position 18, Mr. Meadows.
All right, Mr. Meadows, your case is 23 CR 004006F. You're charged with simple battery family violence. Do you understand your right?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
All right, thank you. Ms. Jackson, can I have history, please?
The defendant has 9 cycles. The defendant's last arrest was June 27th, 2021 for simple battery, and that was in DeKalb County, Georgia. The defendant does appear to be on probation in DeKalb County for aggravated assault. That disposition date was August 18th, 2020. The term was confinement 3 years, probation 7 years. Also, he appeared to be on probation in Cobb County. It's possible that it may have expired. It's for obstruction of an officer, 3 counts, and aggravated assault, 3 counts, and criminal damage to property in the 2nd degree. That disposition date was February 26, 2019, confinement 1 year, probation 4 years. And he does have misdemeanor conviction and a sentence. This one in 2019 out of Cobb County for obstruction of an officer and disorderly conduct, and one in 2016 for a nolo contendory sentence out of Clayton County for criminal trespassing. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
Thank you. And I'm sorry, Ms. Stafford, please proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred on June 23rd, 2023 at 10:59 p.m. Officers responded to a verbal dispute at 2135 Godby Road, apartment 14337 in College Park, Georgia. Upon arriving, officers came in contact with the victim, Mr. Jeremy Knight. Mr. Knight advised that he had been having issues with the defendant the day prior, where the defendant pushed him. However, he didn't think the issue would continue. He further stated that on that day, he was sitting on the couch with his pocket knife sitting next to him when the defendant passed him. The defendant then picked up the pocket knife, struck the victim with an open hand strike across his face, hitting him in the eye. The victim then left the apartment and called the police. Due to the fact that the defendant has multiple cycles, and most of these cycles include some sort of violence, in the unprovoked violence in this particular case, the state is recommending a $5,000 surety bond, stay away from 2135 Godby Road, apartment 14137 in College Park, no further contact with Jeremy Knight, and anger awareness. And at this time, we would like to sound for the victim if he's present.
All right, Mr. Knight, are you present and wish to make a statement? All right, hearing none. Ms. Wright?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Metters is 27 years old. He has completed some college. He's actually enrolled right now at Strayer University, and he was looking to eventually transfer to a larger university. He contends that this was entirely in self-defense, that he and Mr. Knight are roommates, and there had been some normal to escalated roommate tension, that he was coming down the stairs, and it was Mr. Knight that had flashed his knife at Mr. Metters, and that Mr. Metters acted in self-defense to defend himself. He has taken responsibility for the other cases in his life. He knows he's on probation. He's trying to do his best. Your Honor, we are asking for a reasonable bond on this case.
All right, thank you. All right, defendant will receive a $3,500 surety bond. He's to have no further contact with the victim and stay away from the address on Godby Road. He's to also have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Is there anything further?
No, Your Honor.
All right, best of luck to you, sir. That concludes your case. Who do we have next?
Next, we have position number 20, Mr. Tyree Moore.
All right, good afternoon, Mr. Moore. Your case is 23CR0040111Y. You're charged with obstruction and pedestrian in the roadway. Do you understand your right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Jackson, can I have your picture, please?
The defendant has 41 cycles. The defendant's last arrest was February the 5th, 2023 for a DUI and driving without a valid license. And that was in Hall County, Georgia. There was no disposition for that arrest. The defendant does appear to have an outstanding hold out of Valdosta, Georgia for a probation violation. The date on that warrant is September the 17th, 2020. And he does have prior felony convictions. One in 2022 for possession of a firearm during commission of a felony. There was one in 2020 for aggravated assault. And there was one in 2012 for burglary. And there was one in 2006 for burglary. And he does have misdemeanor convictions. So one in 2018 for simple battery, and one in 2017 for obstruction of an officer and simple battery. And he does have a history of failure to appear. There were 2 in 2018, 1 in 2015. Also, he has a history of probation violations. There's 1 in 2020, and there were 2 in 2018, and 1 in 2017, and 1 in 2016. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Ms. Stafford?
Yes, Your Honor, this incident occurred on June 24th, 2023 at 3:51 a.m. On that day, officers were conducting a speed enforcement on Georgia State Highway 400 northbound, when they observed a male hop over the concrete median of that highway and run across 4 lanes of traffic to the shoulder of the highway. Officers then activated the emergency lights on the patrol car and made contact with the individual who was later identified as the defendant, Mr. Tyree Moore. After explaining to the defendant that it was illegal to walk across the highway, the officer asked the defendant for his identification. The defendant refused after multiple requests. Instead of providing the requested information, the defendant stated, "Take me to jail." The defendant then began to become irate. He tensed his body and cursed at the officer and showed behavior as if he wanted to become physical with the officer. At that time, the officer attempted to place him in handcuffs, but the defendant tensed his body and attempted to pull away from the officer's grip. After additional officers arrived, the defendant was successfully placed into handcuffs. As you heard, Your Honor, the defendant has 41 cycles. Many of these cycles include obstruction of some form, whether it's a conviction or arrest. And due to that, we would ask that the current bond, which is set, which is $2,100 surety bond, $1,500 for the obstruction and $600 for the pedestrian in the roadway, remain the same. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
And I'm sorry, did you say, what was the current bond? It was 2,600?
2,100, 1,500 for willful obstruction and $600 for the pedestrian in the roadway.
Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Moore is 36 years old. He was born in Washington, D.C. However, he moved to Georgia quite a bit a long time ago. Last 7 months, he has not had any employment because he just got out of the jail spending about 2 years. And because of that, he is qualified for public defender services. Our team will continuously represent him because of his financial indigency. Your Honor, he completed GED and he's trying to return to the society to make a positive impact, and yet it has been very challenging. We would like to request for signature on bond, especially for pedestrian in roadway charge. Your Honor, that is very, very misdemeanor, and we would like to request for a signature on bond and list for that one. And $1,000 maximum good bond for willful obstruction, Your Honor. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Okay, defendant will receive a $2,000 split bond, 1,000 surety, count one, $1,000 SOP through the jail, count two. Additionally, he's to have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Is there anything further?
No, Your Honor.
Okay,
Nothing from defense, Your Honor.
best of luck to you, sir. Who do we have next?
Next, we have position 27, Mr. Walling, Jason Walling.
Mr. Walling, your case is 23 CR 004025C. You're charged with public drunkenness for the offense date of June 24th. Do you understand, right?
Yes.
Ms. Jackson?
Just a moment, please, Your Honor.
Yes, take your time.
The defendant has 4 cycles. The defendant's last arrest was February 26, 2022 in Oakwood, Georgia for DUI. The defendant does appear to have an open case pending in Cobb County for DUI. And he appears to have one in Fulton County for DUI. So they provided a reference number. Would you like that, Your Honor?
Yes, please.
21 TR094808. And also he has an open case pending in Oakwood, Georgia for DUI. There were no convictions listed in the GCIC. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Lemony?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened June 4th of 2023 at 17th and Market Street. The officers responded to the location and they were advised that defendant was cursing at the staff at Museum of Illusions. He was following and disturbing the patrons, and he was also making them uncomfortable. Once he was confronted by the officers, he did smell like alcohol, and he told the officers, one, he was not going anywhere, he was not going blank anywhere, and he would not leave the location. Defendant was then asked if he could get a ride or if he could tell officers where he lived so he wouldn't have to go to jail, and then he repeated that he wasn't going any blank where. We're asking, the state is asking for $2,000 and for a signature bond to stay away from that location, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. And additionally, alcohol, drug, and evaluation treatment, since defendant has had numerous DUIs, and a lot of his arrest cycles do involve alcohol-induced offenses. And I would like to sound for the Museum of Illusions for the victim if they're present.
Do you have a specific name of that person, Ms. Lemony?
No, Your Honor.
All right, if there is any victim on the line as it pertains to this case?
Your Honor, we have no objection other than we would like to clarify that it is signature on bond through jail.
Ms. Kim, you have no objection to the ADET?
I do have an objection to ADT because this one is not DUI per se. So it is public drunkenness. We would like to ask for, we can do a random screen here and there, but I don't think he needs ADHD. I mean, ADHD.
Okay. All right, defendant received a $2,000 SOB through the jail. He is to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Is there anything further?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, best of luck to you, sir.
Next, Your Honor, we have position 29. Mr. Williams, Christian Williams.
All right, Mr. Williams, your case is 23 CR 004026F. You're charged with simple battery. Do you understand, right?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Ms. Jackson?
The defendant has 18 cycles. The defendant's last arrest was January 26, 2022 in Fulton County for aggravated battery. He does appear to have an open case pending for the aggravated battery. The case number is 22 CP 206092. And he does have prior felony convictions out of Florida, one in 2012 for burglary, one in 2011 for possession of controlled substance, and he has misdemeanor convictions and sentence. One in 2013 for forgery in the 4th degree, one in 2011 for possession of marijuana less than an ounce, and one in 2009 he received a nolo contendere sentence for theft by shoplifting. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Nimini?
Yes, Your Honor. The incident occurred June 25th, yesterday at 525 Peoples Street in Southwest Atlanta. Officers were called to the location, and they were told that defendant pushed Miss Kenesha Neal to the ground. The state was able to speak to Miss Neal, where she informed that she may be on Zoom today. They've been together for 2 years. They don't have any children or do not reside with each other. But she did state that while she was walking to the train, she and defendant got into an argument. Defendant picked her up and slammed her to the ground. She sustained multiple scratches to her hand and arms. She also had pain in her nose and went to Grady yesterday, where the doctor told that she did have a broken bone in her nose. The victim specifically she is going to email the medical documents, but she says that she does want no further contact with the defendant and stay away from her residence, which is at 2226 Addison Place in Atlanta, Georgia. And I also was going to ask for 5,000 surety bond with no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and a 1-day anger awareness program, Your Honor. And I would like to sound for Miss McNeil, Miss Neal, if she's present.
All right, is Ms. McNeil on the line? Wishes to make a statement? Hearing none, Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Williams is 31 years old. He was born in Florida. After 11th grade, he has been working at J&M Contractors, construction industry. He does have a job. He wants to go back to his job. Your Honor, my client denies the allegation, and we would like to request for signature on bond since it's my client said this is not what happened actually. We would like to request for signature on bond, and that's about it. No further, we have no objection to no further contact and stay away from her residency. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Williams, I know you want to say something, but the best thing for you to do is give Ms. Kim a call, okay? I'm sure you dispute the fact as alleged by the state, but you will have further opportunity to dispute those. This is just a bond hearing. All right?
Man, I was trying to say, I do have an elderly grandmother that I take care of as a caretaker and help out around the house weekly and daily. It's not me saying that I do work my J&M contract job throughout the week. But my thing is, I was asking because I don't have no bond money. I was asking, can I be granted community service, whether it be up to 2,000 hours, and it was a big misunderstanding about the situation that occurred. Yes, ma'am. Because I don't have no money to bond.
Please, Mr. Williams, we don't need to talk about what happened yesterday, and please, you have a right to remain silent.
Yeah, I don't have no bond, and I was trying to see if you could please grant me a signature bond so I could do community service to make up my court restitution. I'm not on drugs. I do take care of my grandmother as a caretaker as far as help out around the house, do chores and do the yard work and stuff. The stuff that as far as take out her trash and help out with dishes, stuff that she can't do. She 80 years old. She lives on Morris Brown, Southwest Atlanta, not too far from the MLK.
Okay. Defendant will receive a $1,500 surety bond. He's to have no further contact with the alleged victim and stay away from that incident location.
Yes, ma'am.
Additionally, he's to have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Is there anything further?
I apologize. Thank y'all dearly, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Your Honor, I apologize. I did not hear that bond at all.
It's in the chat, $1,500 surety.
Thank you.
All right, who do we have next?
That's all we have in courtroom 2.
Okay, I have several positions we didn't, they're in courtroom 3. All right, courtroom 2 can be excused. Take care. Have a good afternoon. All right, who do we have next?
Position 15.
All right, your case number is 23CR00401H. In this case, you're charged with tampering with the evidence. Do you understand your right?
Yes, I do.
All right, Ms. Jackson?
Is this Miss Lily, Your Honor?
Yes, Ms. Lemon. I
Just a
apologize,
moment.
Ms. Charlene.
Just a moment, please. The defendant has 22 cycles. The defendant's last arrest was April the 17th, 2021 for a failure to appear, and that was in Fulton County. The defendant does have a prior felony conviction. It was in 2005 for possession of controlled substance. The defendant did receive, excuse me, first offender treatment in 1999 for theft by taking. That case was sealed June the 1st, 1999, and he does have a misdemeanor sentence and a conviction that was received a nolo contendere sentence in 2010 for possession of marijuana less than an ounce. And that was a conviction in 2009 for disorderly conduct. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Ms. Stafford?
Yes, Your Honor, this incident occurred on June 23rd, 2023 at 7:39 p.m. At 123 Dogwood Drive in Atlanta. Officers were patrolling in the area when they witnessed 2 females in the back of a parking lot that appeared to have a glass crack pipe in one of their hands. As they approached, the defendant walked off while they talked to the other individual. When officers tried to stop her, she continued to walk away and ignored verbal commands to stop. Once they did make contact, they found crack cocaine on her. As they attempted to put handcuffs on her, she destroyed the crack in her hands. Once they had her handcuffed, the officers noticed that he did in fact have some of the substance on his hands. As you heard, Your Honor, the defendant has multiple cycles, some of which do include prior drug offenses. At this time, the state is agreeable to a $2,500 surety bond, or signature bond for the tampering with evidence charge, as the obstruction charge was NOD today, due to the fact that this was an incident that included drugs in her prior record. We further asked for ADET and no alcohol, drugs, and weapons.
That's right. Any objection to the signature bond through the jail?
No, Your Honor, no objections to that.
Okay. All right, defendant will receive a $2,500 signature bond through the jail. She's to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Anything further?
No, Your Honor.
All right, best of luck to you.
Position number 1. Come on, one.
All right, Ms. Brown, your case is 23CR00401 3998A. In this case, you're charged with battery family violence. You understand, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Jackson?
The defendant has 12 cycles. The defendant's last arrest was February the 3rd, 2023 in Clayton County, Georgia, for a failure to appear. The defendant does appear to have an open case pending in Fulton County for fixing materials that reduce or increase the light transmission / reflectance of windows / windshields. There was no case number provided. It looks like a reference number. Would you like that, Your Honor?
No, that's fine. I think I understand that one. Please keep going.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand you.
Oh, no, I don't need that reference number.
Okay. He does have a prior felony. I think he received first offender treatment. It was in 2012 out of Peach County, Georgia, for crossing state, county, or guard lines with weapons or intoxicants, drugs without consent. That case was sealed September the 23rd, 2016. He has one misdemeanor conviction in 2008 out of Warner Robins, Georgia, for a DUI, and he does have a history of failure to appear. There was one in 2023 and one in 2022. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
My client is a woman. I just want that noted for the record.
I'm sorry, say that again?
My client is a woman. I wanted that noted for the record.
Oh, I called her Miss Brown. Okay.
Pre-trial.
All right, Ms. James, please proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. This occurred on June 24th, 2023 at 116 Ponce de Leon Avenue Northeast. Appears the defendant and the victim, whose name is Hazel Carter, lived together, and they had a verbal altercation that became physical. The victim stated that the defendant grabbed her hair wig, pushed her to the floor, and punched her in the face, and that she grabbed a kitchen knife and stabbed the defendant in self-defense. And she sustained some facial injuries, according to the police report, and both parties were arrested. The state, Your Honor, is requesting a $3,500 surety bond, no further contact with the victim, stay away from the address 116 Ponce de Leon Avenue in Atlanta, and 1 day anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
Ms. Carter was arrested as well, so she's not present to make a statement, correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Wills?
Thank you, Judge. My client is 33 years old. She is currently employed by Tyler Perry Studios as a stage manager, and she's been employed there for the past 5 years. She actually has a shift to work tonight. She will not qualify to be represented by the Public Defender's Office. She obtained her bachelor's degree from SCAD. She and Ms. Carter were former partners or are former partners. I would object to an anger awareness course at this time. My client does state that Ms. Carter was the primary aggressor. My client was actually stabbed as a result of this altercation, and she did require medical treatment as a result of her injuries. She also stated that due to the fact that both she and Ms. Carter were arrested, law enforcement rushed her medical care so that she needs to tend to her injuries as they are leaking and weren't properly stitched up. I would request that my client receive a signature on bond. If Your Honor is not so inclined, I would ask for a $500 bond. My client will be returning to reside in the same apartment complex, but will not be living with Ms. Carter, and she does not wish to have any contact with her. And if she does have any things or items left in Ms. Carter's home, I would just ask for a one-time law enforcement escort. But she did provide a different unit number where she will be staying that's within the same apartment complex.
Okay, thank you.
Your Honor, I wanted to mention the unit number that the state has, that's 2508. So that, make sure it's not the same location?
It is not. She provided a different unit number.
All right, defendant or receive $1,000 surety bond. She is to have no contact with the cross defendant. Stay away from the address on Ponce de Leon, Unit 2508, where the cross defendant resides. She can return one time with a member of law enforcement to get any items. Additionally, she's to have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Is there anything further?
No, Your Honor.
Best of luck to you, ma'am. Who do we have next?
She had something she wanted to say.
Oh, I was just asking Judge, cause my brother, he works and I definitely would, trying to see if I could get that signature bond, just so I can get out and go to work tonight. Like I said, I've been working there 5 years. I'm like an important part of the, Tyler Perry Productions. I have several stages, I have several keys that I do have to open up the studios, and I haven't been able to get in contact with like my agent so that they can receive those, keys to open up the stages. Like I said, I play an important part in that role at that studio, and I would really appreciate it if I could get that signature bond and just get out tonight.
For now, that will remain a step. I will think about it, all right, as we go through the rest of the calendar. Should I decide to change my mind, I will let them know at the jail, okay? But I will consider your argument, okay?
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. All right.
Position 17.
All right, are you Divine Moretta?
Yeah.
Your case is 23 CR 0040003D. You're charged with criminal trespass. Do you understand your right?
Yes.
All right, Ms. Jackson.
The defendant has one prior cycle. The defendant's last arrest was March the 7th, 2000 in Roswell, Georgia, for possession of marijuana with the intent to distribute, and a DUI, and driving while license suspended or revoked. The defendant did receive a no low contendere sentence in 2001 for driving while license suspended or revoked. And the defendant appeared to meet the criteria for UJR through the jail. Nothing in addition.
All right, thank you. Ms. Stafford and Ms. Jackson, please check your chat. I sent you a message.
Okay. Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred on June 24th, 2023 at 3:37 a.m. at 1645 Elgin Place Drive in Roswell. On that day, the victim and the defendant were in an argument where the victim, Ms. Marcella Marietta, was attempting to record the defendant, at which point the defendant took the victim's phone from her hand. Our office did get a chance to speak to the defendant. She stated that she would be on Zoom. So at an appropriate time, we would like to call for her. The victim stated that she is the defendant's mother, and they both reside at that location. She stated that her and the defendant do argue at times, but this is the first time that they have become physical. The victim also stated that they were arguing, and she didn't make an attempt to record the defendant with her phone, at which point they began to tussle over the phone. She further stated that the defendant did manage to get the phone from the victim, but she did return it at a later time. She stated that she did not sustain any injuries. She's not in fear of the defendant and would like no further violent contact and for her to return to the residence. However, due to the fact that this incident did begin over an argument, which then essentially did turn physical, our office is in agreement with a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial. And we would like to further add no further contact with the victim and to stay away from 1645 Elgin Place, Roswell, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapon. And at this time, we would like to sound for the victim.
Again, the victim's name?
Marcella Moratti.
All right, is Ms. Marcella Moratti present on this Zoom conference? Okay. Hearing none, Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 44 years old.
She was born and raised here in Georgia, Your Honor. After completing GED, she actually has been receiving Social Security income because of her disability. Her mother is caregiver to my client, and they live together, and my client really needs her mother's help. Since Marcella, her mother is not afraid of my client, I think no for the violent contact is very appropriate. We would like to request for signature on bond for this criminal trespass charge. That's the location that they live together. It's been almost all her life. She was there with her mom, and we would like to request for signature on bond. Thank you.
All right, defendant will receive a $2,000 SOB through the jail. She shall have no contact with the alleged victim and stay away from the address on Elgin Place. She can return one time with law enforcement to get any items. Additionally, she shall have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Is there anything further?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, best of luck to you. Who do we have next?
That's all I have in courtroom 3, Judge.
No, position 16? Is that
One
okay?
moment.
Well,
You said 16?
yeah. I know that position 2 was a waiver, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
What about position, anyone have an announcement for position 16?
Your Honor, I'm pretty sure we took position 16. Let me look back.
That
Yes.
I have that we addressed it, Your Honor.
Okay, I didn't strike it from my list. I apologize. All right, courtroom 3 can be excused.
Your Honor, I have a question about position number 1. In the chat, you did not put no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
But I
I'm
said
assuming-
it, so yeah,
Okay.
no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
Thank you.
All right. Position, let's do the waived position. Position 2, I believe, that is the case 23 CR 0039999G, Sylvester Collins, which he's charged with failure to maintain insurance, expired license, and hit and run, with the offense dated June the 25th. Ms. Jackson, can I have the history, please?
The defendant has 3 cycles. The defendant's last arrest was December 3rd, 1991 in Cobb County, Georgia, for possession of marijuana with the intent to distribute. It's 2 counts, and possession of a stun gun / taser during committing a felony. The defendant does have 1 felony conviction that was in 1992 out of Cobb County for possession of marijuana with the intent to distribute and possession of a firearm during commission of a felony. And he has 1 misdemeanor conviction that was in 1991 out of Cobb County for 2 counts of cruelty to animals. Nothing in addition, Your Honor. Also, the defendant does appear to meet the criteria for a UJR, youth pretrial services. Nothing in addition.
Thank you. Ms. James?
Yes, Your Honor. I'm showing in reference to driver's history that defendant had a speeding ticket in 1990, a speeding ticket in 2003, and in 2020, failure to obey a stop sign. And in this incident, it took place on June 25th, 2023, at the location of 3 Joseph E. Lowry Boulevard Northwest in Atlanta. It appears that the officer, Officer Watson from the Atlanta Public School, observed the defendant hit the victim, who is Janika Purdue's vehicle, and he failed to stop and render any assistance or provide his information. However, when the officer arrived and located the defendant, he ran the vehicle, the white 2013 Ford Explorer, through their system and confirmed that the defendant was operating the vehicle without insurance and that he provided him his driver's license and that he confirmed that the driver's license had expired in November 2020. Sorry about that. And so we're asking that you sound for Janika Purdue, the victim who was hit, and the state is asking to keep the bond as is. That's a $2,000 surety bond for each count for the failure to maintain insurance, for driving with an expired license, and for the hit and run. And we're asking for additional conditions of no alcohol, no drugs, no weapon, and do not operate a motor vehicle without valid license or valid registration.
All right.
Insurance, and
I'm
without
sound-
insurance.
I know what you meant. I'm sounding for Ms. Purdue. All right, hearing and seeing none, Ms. Wills.
Thank you, Your Honor. My client is 68 years old. He is a native of Georgia. He is retired. He receives both SSI as well as a pension. He will not qualify to be represented by the Public Defender's Office. He does have a high school diploma. And speaking with my client, he states that he did stop after the accident and his vehicle was towed from the incident location. He also states that he did have valid insurance at the time of this incident and attempted to share that with law enforcement. However, he was unable to. He knows not to drive without a valid license, and we did speak about that. I would ask for a signature on bond as recommended by pretrial services.
All right, defendant will receive a $3,000 SOB through pretrial. He is to not drive without the proper license and insurance. And additionally, he is to have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Is there anything further?
No, Your Honor.
All right, I believe that concludes the entire calendar. Ms. Strong, will you review it for me?
Sure, and just to confirm, Mr. Collins' case was 1,000 on each, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. One second, please. Position number 1 was a $1,000 good bond reset for July the 11th. Position number 2 was a $3,000 signature bond through the jail. Position number 3 was a $1,500 signature bond through pretrial per judge. Position number 4, $1,000 good bond reset for July the 11th. Position number 5 was a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial per judge. Position number 6, $1,000 good bond reset for July the 11th. Position number 7, $2,000 signature bond through the jail. Position number 8 was a medical reset, will be reset for tomorrow. Position number 9 was a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial per judge. Position number 10 was a $3,500 good bond reset for July the 11th. Well, I didn't write down 11, but I have it. What was position number 11?
$2,000 signature bond through the jail, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
You said 2,000?
Yeah.
Thank you. Position number 12 was a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial with a cosigner. Position number 13 was a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. Position number 14 was a $3,500 good bond reset for July the 11th. Position number 15, $2,500 signature bond through the jail. Position number 16 was a $5,000 signature bond through the jail. Position number 17, $2,000 signature bond through the jail. Position number 18 was a $3,500 good bond reset for July the 11th. Position number 19 was a $2,000 split bond, 1,000 good bond on the first charge, 250 on the second, 250 through the jail on the second charge. The third charge was a $250 good bond, and the fourth charge was a $500 good bond. Position number 20 was also a $2,000 split bond, 1,000 surety bond on the first charge, and 1,000 signature bond through the jail on the second charge, reset for July the 11th. Position number 21 was a $1,000 good bond reset for July the 11th. Position number 22 was a medical reset, will be reset for tomorrow. Position number 23 was a $1,500 signature bond through pretrial per judge. Position number 24 was a $1,500 signature bond through pretrial per judge. 25 was a $3,500 good bond reset for July the 11th. Right. Position number 26 was a $1,500 good bond reset for July the 11th. Position number 27 was a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. Position number 28 was a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial per judge. 29 was a $1,500 good bond reset for July the 11th. And position number 30 was a $2,500 signature bond through pretrial per judge.
I'm sorry, sorry for interrupting. Could I get position 2 again?
It was a $3,000 signature bond through the jail.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other comments, changes, corrections, or questions?
Have you had the opportunity to reconsider position number 1, Ms. Brown?
It will remain as that. I
Thank
did consider. All right, we will be in recess until tomorrow's SBA calendar. Take care, everyone. Have a great evening.
Judge Williams.
Yes.
Which, Fulton County or personal?
Either one. Both.
Either, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right,
Thank you, Judge.
everyone, take care. Thank you, Ms. Falk, for keeping me on my toes.
You're welcome.
Please pass her my message, Ms. Stafford.